We are red. Red is on.
We'll open this meeting of Thursday, February 11th. Let the record show all selectmen except John Scanlon is present, and he is on his way. First, it's right here.
Yeah, I saw it.
First on our list is make a motion to accept the very nice donation from the Tilton Northfield Fraternal Associations, donated to the Parks Commission for $200.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes?
Yes. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Parks. Tilton Northfield Fraternal. Okay. Lauren, we had questions. Where is the manifest?
Over here.
Why we're paying so much money back to
About halfway through.
our favorite place up in Lockmere Meadows.
Low-income housing tax credit. 2015, they elected to be assessed in that manner. The statute allows them to apply to be assessed in that manner. It's based on an income approach to value, or I believe it's 10% of their shelter rents, whichever one is greater. So there's a formula to actually, a spreadsheet, I think I sent that with the abatement application. So this year was their first year being assessed under that statute. So we didn't really see it when the others first came on to the program, because you have one or two others that are under the low-income housing tax credit election, but they were older buildings in pretty rough shape. So they were already assessed pretty low given their quality and condition. This, being a new construction project, the market value is obviously much greater than its value under the low-income housing tax credit program. And I had only gotten some of the information from them initially. They had only provided financial information on one of them, and it's 1A and 1B. So I hadn't gotten that information from them, and what they sent originally was a PDF of the first one, where I need the Excel spreadsheet to be able to put all the formulas in. So they got that information to me probably a week or two before I actually submitted it to you. So it's the first year assessed in that manner, which is why we had such a huge abatement on it. The assessment has been modified to reflect the 2015 taxes. So every year we'll see either an abatement or a supplement, and it varies, but it should never be as large as it was this year, because the value closely mirrors the tax that they were obligated to pay under that statute.
Now, if I understand what you're saying, I'm just wondering that the taxes do not necessarily reflect the value of the buildings.
Correct.
So is this anything like current use, where at such time as that thing sells, some of that money is going to go towards the conservation people or whatever? Do we realize it on the other end?
Unfortunately, no. It is assessed much like current use, and that is really what they mirrored that statute on when they did it. They accepted it and decided that these type of properties are needed for the greater good. So the legislature, in its infinite wisdom, decided that we should have this mechanism to assess them at something lower, given the structure of what it is. But there is no penalty. There is no, once it finally comes out of that, so they elect under that, and some years, depending on how their finances work, I've had projects where taxpayers don't provide me the information. They said, oh, we're not going to file this year. But it's a 10-year election, so once they opt into it, they're obligated to be assessed in this manner for 10 years.
And it could go the other way on them.
The positive thing, which I did mention to Joyce earlier, that we noted, so while we are losing that value off of our tax rolls, and you'll see that more
And an actual abatement check.
Well, for this year, in an abatement check, and next year, you'll see it in actually a decrease. You may see it, may not, depending, because it kind of gets shuffled in there. So it's a loss in value going forward. But that said, we had taken off a few years back your right-of-way assessments for Fairpoint, for any users of the right-of-way. And that's pretty much played out through the courts now, and in the Concord case predominantly, and in the last consolidated test trials. And they said, if you've amended your poll licenses, you have the right to assess the right-of-way. So we will be adding the right-of-way back on for Fairpoint and any other attachees or users of the public right-of-way. So we'll be adding that value on for 2016. So we're losing some, but we're going to gain some over here, so.
Do you only put the assessments on the pole owners, or is it like, all right, I'm Joe Jessman and I've got a wire running down that right of way, do you tax me as well?
No, we don't tax the wires for any, I should clarify, we don't tax the wires to any telephone user.
Because Fairpoint's already charging me to be on that wire, so you tax Fairpoint.
Right. Fairpoint gets taxed for the poles, the conduit, and the public right-of-way. The co-op or PSNH or any of the electric utilities, they are assessed and taxed for their complete infrastructure, their distribution, everything, transmission, where the telephone company, until the past few years, was exempt from that. And that, they lost that exemption, they fought for it for several years, and so now we're going down a different path. But that was when the law changed and said you can assess the poles, conduit, and the right-of-way.
Beginning,
2011, I believe.
so we can go back and send them supplemental tax bill?
Well, no, we've been assessing them for the poles, the conduit.
I see.
We abated the right-of-way early on, I think it was tax year 11 and 12.
I remember that.
Because
It was in court.
it was in court, and without amended poll licenses and the language that was needed to be in there, it was likely we were going to lose that anyway. So right now, the battle is kind of narrowed down for the town on the Fairpoint appeal to just the value of the poles and conduit. So if there's anything, it'll be nominal at best, so, which is good, because that's 11, 12, 13, 14, and potentially 15 now that's on the hook for that. But we're close to a settlement, I think, with Fairpoint on that.
Yay.
Because the Assessing Standards Board is supporting legislation to come up with a standardized methodology for valuing poles and conduit across the state, which would pretty much do away with all, while it has no direct impact on the outstanding appeals, if there's a clear method going forward, it should help to facilitate any settlements on those other cases as well. So,
Thanks.
no problem.
All right, anybody else got any questions for Lauren? That was the big one.
Oh, I know it was.
Big
and-
check.
Yeah, yeah.
Wanted to hear
And
it
we
from
didn't
you.
have, and you don't, when they did that law, when that was adopted, they really didn't put much thought. I mean, it sounds great to say, okay, we're going to calculate what your taxes are going to be for the year, and that's what you're going to pay. And unfortunately, it's a little backward, because you can't calculate what somebody's taxes are going to be for the year until you have the tax rate. You have to apply the tax rate and the ratio, and you don't have that information until after bills have gone out. So every year, we're left dealing with an abatement or supplement. But after that first year, it shows, okay, their taxes should be X, and as a result, the value should be this. So we've modified the assessment to closely mirror that, so any abatement or supplement in subsequent years should be much smaller. But that first year and being a brand new facility, it was kind of a kick in the behind.
All right,
All right,
great. No more questions. Thank you so much for waiting, and
quick and easy.
I know. Thanks.
No problem, anytime. It's nice to see you, it's been a while.
Thank you. Does anybody know who that is
That's the logger guy.
for the Mansville Road? Should we all have a conversation with them, or? Well, earlier before the meeting, there was an issue that there were bobcats and skidders chippers out in the middle of the road blocking
He's got to
traffic.
walk right back through here, we can ask him questions.
So why are we having a meeting out back?
Maybe he
Catherine,
asked,
whistle.
maybe he asked to talk to Johnny.
I Dar, is Tim coming?
I believe so.
Is who coming?
Tim Jubert?
It only says Dari on here.
It doesn't even say Dar.
I was asked to put Dari on here. Now, if we're going to have a lot of other people in here, I need to know that. This is what makes our agendas very, very long.
Who else are we waiting?
Dari was supposed to come up and talk to the Board of Selectmen about numbering the streets. It makes it very difficult if now we add the fire department in it, too.
Well, just Tim.
Just Tim is just Tim, I not get it. You're adding time on to the agenda.
You give him 30 seconds.
Happens all the time.
Have the hammer ready.
Well, he's got 5 minutes, 5:45, or 4:45.
All right, we're ready for you, Dari.
All right. Shall I sit here?
Sure,
Okay.
yep. Come on up.
Guess I don't have to sign off on those checks.
So I guess there are 2 or potentially 3 things I'm here to talk about now. One being the Main Street addressing, second being intern, and then potentially a third discussion of a meeting I attended at Lakes Region Planning Commission recently. I was thinking that Tim would be here for the Main Street addressing, but we can certainly start with that. But I guess I'll ask the board if there's one that you'd like me to start with more than another.
So there's, what are the 3 things again?
Well, an internship project, the Main Street addressing being the second, and then the third, I'm available to discuss a recent meeting I had at Lakes Region Planning Commission that I know was brought up last night.
The watershed thing.
Yeah. Okay. However you want to start, let's,
Let's start with the watershed.
Okay, here I've got some, right.
Hey, Russ.
Some materials from that meeting, an agenda, here, thank you.
Thank you.
I was originally contacted by John Edgar, the Community Development Director in Meredith, give me a phone call and said, hey, I was thinking about getting the planners together informally just to kick around ideas, share stories about the Winnisquam watershed. And I said, okay, sounds great. I'm sure there's a bunch of people from town who'd be interested in attending. And he said, well, let's keep it at the planners now and involve our towns, you know, as it, if anything develops. Here's the agenda for the meeting. It was at Lakes Region Planning Commission. Jeff Hayes was there, the director, as well as Dave Jeffers, one of the planners. Representatives from Belmont, New Hampton, Sanmerton, were all there, Meredith, and I was there. It was a very informal meeting. Here you see the second pages that I just threw together. I kind of superimposed Tilton in the Winnipesaukee River watershed. You can see the east end of Tilton extends into the sub-watershed of the Lake Winnisquam sub-watershed. It's a sub-watershed of the Winnipesaukee River watershed. Basically, the meeting was to start to find out if there's interest between all the towns in entering some sort of watershed-wide management, research, planning, something like any initiative such as that. My understanding was that there will be some email coming out after the meeting that I was intending to share with the planning board and the select board to make a determination if Tilton does want to at least indicate interest in participating in something like that. I think the next page shows a volunteer lake assessment program report for the Lake Winnisquam watershed. That was handed out by Sarah Steiner from DES. There is a sampling site kind of situated in between Belmont, in the middle of the lake, in between Tilton and Belmont, that there was some, I'm not sure, some mention of not getting as many samples as wanted, and that maybe additional volunteers would be needed. So I offered to spread the word here in Tilton. I'm still sort of awaiting a follow-up from that meeting to make sure that is indeed a need. And then on the last page, the second to last page is a map of sewer. Probably you guys have seen something like this before. Nothing too earth-shattering. The last page is something I threw together in advance of the meeting, just for my own purposes, to try and get a sense of what our properties, our lakefront properties in that portion of town were. It's very much a draft, just intent, again, for me to gain some familiarity, but I thought I'd include it. I thought it was somewhat interesting. I did a little summary on the back page, just handwritten, about the general characteristics of those lots. But I think the main takeaways from the meeting, in my opinion, are potentially there'd be some need for additional volunteers to do sampling. So if that indeed surfaces as a need, I thought between Planning Board, Select Board, Conservation Commission, we might be able to spread the word and get some participation. But maybe more importantly is the idea of the meeting was to find out if people are interested in a watershed-wide planning initiative.
Why is Silver Lake not included in this? It says shorefront parcels along Lake Winnisquam. And I don't see.
Oh, I think I included.
I don't see noise.
Okay, the last, again, please don't, perhaps I shouldn't have even included it because it was really
Well,
something
no,
I
and
threw
then
together.
There's another title in here, Volunteer Lake Assessment Program, Winnisquam. I mean, it's on the map, but.
Oh, excuse me. No,
going
Silver
Silver
Lake,
Lake-
I think, is outside of the Winnisquam watershed. It's in the,
So is that this boundary here?
yes, right.
This is a different
Yeah, sorry.
watershed. Well, because then, that's curious. So it's only the Winnipesaukee River. Is it the Winnipesaukee River in Laconia?
What?
Yes.
Yeah. It starts in Laconia.
And they call it Winnipesaukee as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right through
leave the lake,
downtown.
it's the
Winnipesaukee, and then it
river.
becomes Lake Winnisquam and Silver Lake, and then it becomes Winnipesaukee River again?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just alternates.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then it becomes the Merrimack. When it merges with the
Oh,
Pennies.
thank you. You left that part out.
So,
3 rivers. I'm looking for the
Two
stadium.
become one. Okay, so I was just curious that,
yeah, right,
Okay,
yeah,
so
that's
that makes
the
sense,
reason, right.
Okay. Let's move on.
Oh, okay, there's that. And please, I guess I'll mention this to the planning board as well. And, I guess, if I don't see something from Lakes Region Planning Commission kind of directing our next steps as how we're, how the group was planning to contact our communities. And
what is their intent with this?
I'm not sure.
We have a tri-town document that it's kind of quasi
I mean,
used by the communities and not really.
I think if you read the LRP perspective that they attach to the agenda, I guess that's, without speaking for them, I would say that is sort of sums up how they see themselves fitting in. One thing that was mentioned in the meeting, although it was sort of that, this is what they were thinking was something based municipally, that it wasn't going to be an LRPC-led project, but LRPC was offering to help facilitate. Again, I got the initial call from John Edgar and Meredith, so I'm not even certain that LRPC was the originator
I mean, I
of
looked at
this.
culvert inventory.
Oh.
It made me really technical. We're talking about Route 311 in Tilton.
Right,
Like
yeah.
to call the state, control what they do with those culverts. The solution to pollution is dilution.
Well, and
Okay.
why focus on Winnisquam only? You got the river, 2 lakes and all, plus the big lake, it should be all in one.
Agree.
Okay.
Be interesting to see where it goes. Thank you.
Yeah, sure, thank
All right.
you. Get, the internship out of the way as well. Here, if you don't mind, Selectman Scanlon, would you mind handing, just passing this around? This is just an email. You may have seen this, Joyce was, I think I sent I'm not sure, no, anyway.
I referred to it last week.
Okay. We trying to hone in on it, this internship program that we're developing with Winnisquam through Dana Folds, is that?
Folds.
Yeah, okay, Folds. And so here in the top paragraph, she gives quite a little summary of who the student is. You know, look, Jeremy Wentworth is his name, an A student, interested in municipal government and law, so great fit. Looks like 3 to 5 hours a week with rotating schedule. So to me, that looks, I thought that seemed doable. I can't, you know, obviously, we need to have some additional discussions. Actually, my plan would be to meet with Dana and the student next week, if the board agrees that that's a good idea. I think there's a couple opportunities here. One is for as a town, we have an opportunity to have a motivated student help develop our databases. I think permitting, in particular state permitting, DOT permitting, DES permitting, I feel like there's an opportunity to get those type of permits scanned, filed. You know, provides an opportunity for the student perhaps to reach out to those agencies, make some contacts with those agencies, making sure that we have all the records that they have, and getting those into the individual property record files, as well as getting them digitally. I think eventually, if we build our database and our record keeping and our property record file, digital property record files, it'll lend itself eventually to this information becoming more readily available, perhaps even through some sort of online module one day. But even if we decide not to go, if the town decides not to go that direction, I think getting this information put together would certainly benefit the town. And I think the exposure, just looking at these various legal documents and the processes that go into land use permissions will be beneficial to the student. I also foresee some opportunity for the student to come before the planning board, select board, and maybe do a presentation, but at least attend some meetings and get a sense of the government process, how important planning board and select board meetings are here in New Hampshire to really the way business is done here in the state. And I guess another opportunity would be to help maybe with some, depending on what comes through the planning board, perhaps there's some research or review work that the student could help me with in preparing an application to go before the planning board.
You looking for a decision on that tonight?
That's really up to you guys. This doesn't have to move any faster than the town is ready for it to move. I think the school is ready to go forward with it. One option would be to say, you know, to perhaps grant me permission to go ahead and have the meeting next week, and see where that goes, and then I could report back, and we could make a final decision following
I think
that.
real world experience, if we have a slot available, if we have something for this person to do, I think it's win-win.
I agree.
Would this person tie up your time or be beneficial to you? In other words, he'd be doing a task that you would normally have to do and free you up to do other things.
Yeah, I think undoubtedly there'll be some investment of time, and you know, probably that first day or two that the student's there, I won't expect to get much done those few hours, but I expect, you know, given the positive comments I've heard about the student, I'm envisioning after some investment of time, the student will be able to come in, jump right into work, and whatever questions I have to answer, the time invested there will be sort of recouped in the fact that he's getting work done that I would otherwise have to do on my own.
I think you should be able to attend the meeting.
You think what?
We should go to the meeting.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, good. And I'll just,
You're done. John?
Yes.
Yep, so it's a
And
yes.
should I take the stance that we're in, or that, based on what I hear, I'll come back to the board, or I don't want to delay it, but I also don't want to go saying, all right, show up.
He is a senior, so you're gonna have limited time. I would say if Dory thinks it's a good fit, move forward.
I agree.
My main question is answered. If you
Okay.
feel that that's
John, you okay with that?
gonna be,
I'm
then go with
very
it.
much okay with that. I think
All right.
it's a very good program to have any.
If you think it's a good fit, then go with
Trustee
it.
All right,
Manjit.
okay, all right, all right, thank you. All right, so now we're on to item number 3, and I'm sorry if this is redundant, I just didn't want us to get bogged down in needing copies of things, but I brought extras of what I emailed out.
Does Tim have a copy?
I just came back from a fire, so I just kind of ran over here.
Oh,
I thought I smelled smoke.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Everyone all right?
Does everyone have a
Yeah,
copy?
porch fire, and actually, nobody was home, so it was the neighbor living behind that actually saw it, so.
It's already in our packet for
Ashes
the
in a
most
bucket?
part.
Now you got a colored version.
Okay.
All right, so recently, we had the good fortune of basically being able to get Tim, some folks from the Department of Safety, Joyce and myself, all together to review the Main Street addressing. I think the good news is that our house is pretty much in order. If you go in our Avatar assessing database, the numbers really are by and large, the way we want them. When you go out on Main Street, it starts to, it's not quite as tight. You have some instances where there are buildings with no numbers, and then maybe a little bit more challenging is buildings that do have numbers, but they're the wrong numbers. So we put together this spreadsheet here to kind of go through it. I think, the column that says numbers posted correctly, yes or no, if it's a no, that could mean a couple different things. It could mean that they have, as far as, their letterhead and their business cards and everything, they've got the right address, but they don't have a number on the side of the building. Or it could mean they have a number on the side of the building and it's wrong, which to me is maybe, both of them need to be addressed. Either would be it would be, I guess, a violation of the numbering ordinance. I'll just say one more thing, and then I invite Tim to take over. The blue lines are meant to indicate those are the only 2 instances where we're actually looking to change what we have in the assessing database. The U510 on the first page, that combined with the one below it, U511, those 2 buildings are right in front of the Sant Bonnie Press building. They're connected in that there's a staircase inside of one of them that is used to access units from the other. So from a safety standpoint, I'll let Tim speak to that. It seemed like a good idea to combine and just make it one number. And similarly, on the second page, you see from U531 going up to U534, those are all, that goes from the old bank to the cupcake store. And those are, currently we have them as 4 separate addresses. And the opinion was that since they're all connected, it made sense to give it one number.
You can't.
Okay.
They're 4 different owners.
Okay.
It's impossible to do that because they're not owned by one person. They're 4 separate owners.
It doesn't seem that separating them out would represent I don't think that it would be out of keeping with the ordinance. The ordinance provides for division through apartment numbers and suite numbers, but I think we recognize that, that's dividing that, that building that's currently divided up in 4 numbers and combining them into one would be obviously the most controversial element of this whole thing. And I don't know, I suppose I don't know how important it is to combine them or not. But, Tim, I don't know, if Tim, did you
What
have-
was the fire department's preference?
This really started when the new restaurant went in on Main Street. It has a big number, 276 on it, and two buildings to the left had the same exact number on it. You know, time is pretty important when it comes to life safety. When we pull out of that alley, we really need to know if we're taking a left or taking a right. And Main Street right now, the numbering just isn't conducive to that. Numbers are everywhere, numbers are missing, and what 911 has is different than potentially what the phone company has or what's on the building. So, you know, it's all about the best care for the people on the Main Street area. And by making it as cohesive and universal as possible and consistent, I think that as a fire department, and probably I'll speak for the police department too, it's going to help get us to those emergencies faster without delay in care.
Based on that, I would think the separate numbers make it easier, because if you've got a whole string with one number, now you've got time, where do I go in, whatever, if they're
Well,
all
it's A, B,
separate.
C, D. It's either way. I mean,
Ordinance requires buildings with more than one office in them to become suites with one number on the building.
And there's more than one office in those buildings.
So you'd have to change.
So you'd have to change the, right. Right.
So I'm not familiar with, you know, the legal ramifications of it. I just know that as a first responder, if you're going to 298 Main Street, let's say, and it's all the same building in the front, we know exactly which building we're going to. And we know that if it's Suite A, Suite B, Suite C, Suite D, we know that's the building we're going to. Whereas if it's 291, 293, 295, is it before the street? Is it after the street? Is it in that building? Is it in the middle of the building? So the thought process was having one building, which appears to be one building from the outside, have one number. That would get us an idea of exactly what building we are going to.
Well, what appears to be on the outside doesn't necessarily be that
disagree with
way.
you.
how do you do it at the outlet mall?
There's suites. There's
It's
building
one
100.
address, right?
It's 120 Laconia Road, building
And they each-
100, 200, 300.
So this one, it could have, if each one had an address, it would be the same thing, wouldn't it?
It would be similar, yes.
We have known for a very long time, at least the town of Tilton has known for a very, very, very long time about 911 and street numbering. And way before I became a selectman, our addresses were changed because of 911. That was probably 15 years ago. And the selectmen chose not to do anything about it down on Main Street. And now there's this grand push, now that we have new businesses down, to change everybody and their numbering and go through all of that, which is a huge expense to the business owners down there, particularly the new business owners that have just gone in. You know, if this is what we need to do to make it a safer, greater place for the town of Tilton, then do it in a very meticulous way and do it over a period of time and warn the folks over a year. Next year, by this time, at such and such, this is what our numbers are going to be. So, you know, when you run out of your checks, when you reorder them, make sure that you have this number on them instead. You know, I'm for that. I'm not for next week, you know, oh, by the way, your number's now 260 instead of 262. And I'm not going to go down there and do that to the businesses that have been there for years and years and years, that have everything printed on their addresses. But for safety's sake, I am willing to move forward in a discussion with Dari and move forward so that it can be methodically thought out in a process and get them all on board. Those that, the easy fix first, if they don't have a number on their building, make them put a number on their building, period. We at least can do that.
That seems to be the biggest problem. No numbers or incorrectly displayed
How
numbers.
many of these businesses are using the correct number but have the wrong number posted on their building.
That I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure,
Yeah,
like,
I
I
made
can,
notes on one
I mean,
of her.
I know that the hardware store has the wrong number all over the building, not only for the store itself, but for whatever residential unit or units are there. Can't
Like
recall at the
4
moment.
different numbers.
And then, what is supposed to be 272 Main, the owner of the business is 276 LLC.
Oh, that's ideal.
Okay, yep. And so that one is clear, that, the owner, there's a discrepancy, and it's not,
So that hasn't, you haven't really checked that. I mean, because I remember Dave Wadley was doing the 911 when I became a selectman.
Is it Sandy?
Nope, it was Dave Wadley.
It's way before
He was
her.
in charge of giving them their addresses and whatnot. So, I mean, who's to say that some of these aren't actually on their business cards or whatnot, or
Right.
using...
Oh, and
because a lot
checks
of-
and letterheads and
Right,
everything
and they
else.
may have post office boxes instead of having mail delivered there. You don't know this, right?
like,
So we
Right.
don't know the financial impact on a lot of businesses. They just could be in a building with, there's a number, nobody ever changed it.
Well, and you're absolutely right. When we got done walking Main Street, someone who was doing some renovations came and said, hey, this is the actual number, but it never got changed because the previous owner just bought checks or business cards or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, we absolutely understand that.
Okay, so that's something we should...
Because you have the salon down there that just had printed up, what do you call them? Gift certificates, their address on them.
Can we put this at like a time frame in this? 18 months?
Well, we don't have to do
I
anything
don't
with
think
it
we-
tonight.
we don't have to
except
do anything
know that
tonight.
No, but I'm
There's
just
some
asking.
information we should correct.
But
I mean, that we should find, not correct, but...
I think that, given the stake that's involved in it, which is life safety, that we should move, but we should move in a methodical manner. And let's see what we can fix now, and if we have to send out letters, then let's send those letters out to get that fixed, and then move forward and say, this is what we need to do, and let's get the ball rolling on it, but it's not going to happen overnight. We have to give these people some time to make these changes.
Is the practice in the land use office, when a new business comes in anywhere in town, that they are given, and the correct number for their parcel is verified and given to them?
well, I guess, let's take 276, the Rio Burrito. Are you saying like a new business taking over a building, or not a new building being built, right? You're talking
No,
about...
I'm talking
yeah.
about somebody coming in anywhere in town, like somebody bought the...
Tattoo place, when they came in.
Somebody
Yeah.
bought
Oh, that's
the
another good
business
example, yeah.
on the corner of Church.
Yeah,
They're gonna, Fluffy's, they bought that a while ago. Was there any conversation with, because they might not have gone to you, they might have just gone to the building inspector to get a building permit. They may not have to go through the land use process. So there's 2 offices in that land use office. Are the 2 of you communicating, and when someone comes in that's got a new property, because it's not just businesses, it's residential as well, is there any verification that the number they're saying and getting is correct?
I think we've...
If not, we should be.
Yeah, no, I think that we've caught some things that way. What was the one that just, I think,
So the beauty parlor that just went in, or the one that went down into, like,
Right.
T-Hop Way, that beauty parlor that went in there, very recent, are they correct?
they, I think when they
The
come to the
beauty
planning
parlor here
board,
is not.
there is usually some exchange on that, because just, they're put on the agenda with their address and the lot number, and usually it becomes, I feel like multiple times I've had a discussion with the business coming in, and it's actually, we've sorted it out, and tattoo parlor being a great example. They came, what's our address? And we got it right, and so now they know what their address is. But I
says
do
here that-
think there's some additional opportunity there, maybe through the building permit, you know, we look and say, they're writing down what they think their address is gonna be.
That's right.
Yeah, and we should be going, saying, do they have it right? And if they don't, it's that opportunity, it's changing hands to.
Right.
Yeah, without someone
That's
printing a
a-
business
And then
card.
we- exactly.
That's an important
Yeah,
place.
right.
And we've
We
already
should
nipped
put
it.
something
Right.
in
Yeah.
place that he is making sure when they come in, because they're giving him his address, and he's looking at it, and, you know, like me, I've been around for more years than I probably should be. Somebody says,
I think
gives me an address, I'm gonna recognize it, whether it's a 911 address or the address I've known for, never mind how many years, but a lot of years. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
So there should be something in place there now.
Am I
So when those
infringing?
building permits.
No, I'm just saying which one is which.
we have our assessing database, which our addresses in our assessing program are correct.
Pretty good, yeah,
Okay?
right, and they
And
are.
then we would just go into the E911 database and look and see what they're showing.
So then we should direct our code enforcement officer to do that, to verify.
Definitely, yep.
Those
Make a
addresses.
space on the building permit.
Well, yeah, I'm not sure we need to change it because they report their address on the building permit. So
Okay.
really, he just needs to look
Look
and
at
say, does that match? You know, he'll look at the map and lot number and, you know, like when 270, when the Rio Burrito came in, that's, you know, this 270, as Tim mentioned, that's when this surfaced again, saying, oh.
And that could be a first stage of correcting.
Yeah, and saving someone a lot of
Right,
expense,
somebody comes in to
yeah.
build a new house, like the
Yeah.
one that's going up in High Street.
Right.
Does that have the correct address?
We don't actually check with Fairpoint. We go directly with E911, I mean, because there's also they match that up to the telephone number. But
If we're
we just-
doing
We just are
911.
matching our street address with the street address that is in the emergency database.
You can't really match it up to a phone number because a lot of them don't have the phone numbers.
Just sells.
They're cell numbers now.
And what if the telephone
understand.
is wrong? It should be just whatever 911
You can't depend on
requires it to
Fairpoint.
be is what,
Yeah,
No, I just want to make sure that
Either
we're
that
out
or
of that
abandon
step. We don't
911.
Yeah.
have anything to do with that. Because
That's true.
when Jean came up, she had the listing for
sorry.
all those addresses, what they had in their database and what Fairpoint had for the phone number.
Right.
But that doesn't concern
And
us.
Fairpoint's probably 60% accurate.
Like us.
Seriously.
Question down here.
Yeah, but
When I look at the ordinance, page 2, number 8, corner lots shall be assigned the appropriate street number which corresponds to the street on which the building faces or the street from which access is obtained. Shouldn't we be consistent and go one or the other? If you go in my neighborhood, 20 Crystal Lane's front door and driveway are both on Ruby, so it's numbered wrong. The other end, 20 Ruby Lane, has the front door facing Ruby, the driveway facing Emerald. So there's 2 in my neighborhood on the corner lots that I think were probably the first one was misnumbered when Dave did it. Because both the front door and driveway are on Ruby.
I'm sure that there's going to be examples
Well,
throughout the...
have we even gone back since it's been done to check to see, was it done right in the first place?
Unless there's been a problem unless somebody has noticed an issue, and then they've come back and we've changed it.
I think UPS, Home Depot, FedEx have finally figured it out, because for a while there, they were dumping them on the wrong ones.
Right. Okay, so we'll continue.
okay,
You're going to go forward with looking to see what we can correct right now and
yes.
developing that information up so that we can say, yeah, go ahead with that.
Yeah, so, yes, that sounds like a great plan. Thank you very much.
are we gonna figure out which side of the street is the left side and which side is the right side, and which direction you're going to make it the
Toss a
left side or the
coin.
right side?
No, left is always on the left.
Except left becomes the right side when you're heading the other direction.
Yeah, but it starts on one end and it ends on the other, and it goes left to left all the way down.
Where do we start? Northeast or southwest, or southeast or northwest?
That's a conversation for another
All
time.
primary buildings on the left side of the street shall have even numbers, and primary buildings on the
On the
right
left side,
side shall have odd numbers.
in which manner of travel?
That's what I'm saying, which
That's
direction are you
left.
going?
look at all the other addresses. That side is where they start, so that
Are you
side
telling
is
me
left.
there's
So
no
you start-
property on the north side of Route 311? That's an odd number?
Left and right. It's left and right. Whatever, it's
Sorry,
left and right.
Please don't tell me that the people before us got it right, because obviously we wouldn't be talking about it if they did.
I didn't say they would, but
Hey.
left and right is left
I'm
and
just
right.
delighted I didn't sign this.
Not sure I would. All right, thank you. We'll
All right.
continue, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll report back, definitely. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that was good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So did you send a directive
Let's just make them all
to
leave and-
the code enforcement officer
They're gonna be left either.
to start?
Well, why don't you wait and let
diary to
Dari and I
start.
talk with Al and bring him up to speed on all this and figure out what would be the easiest to work, and then we can come back to the board and suggest this would be the procedure.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks, Dari.
Good night, Tim.
Good night. Good night, Tim. Okay, Johnny. Short and sweet.
Got my short search in finally, so in case anybody, I haven't talked to John yet.
Yeah, see? Turn around.
Here you go.
Your name's spelled wrong.
No, it's actually right.
It's right, it's right. J-H-O.
Dave gets it right.
Since I saw you guys last, we had one storm. I think everything went well. Been super busy, clean up. I was gonna have the crew come in tonight at midnight. We were gonna clean up Main Street, but we had the chance today. We made it work. The majority of it is cleaned up currently, so the only thing we couldn't get was the right-hand side of the street.
Which side is that on, John? The right-hand side?
Left side's the right.
That, you got it, John.
I go east when I leave here, so that's the right.
All right, let's move on.
The side by Polly's,
There we go.
It doesn't look that bad anyways.
no, what I was attempting to do was, look at this winter anyway, we've had long periods of time in between storms, just to clean it up before it just becomes a nuisance to everybody in and out, just to provide a little bit better service to the people of town and the businesses of town. So we're just, my crew, 4 guys are coming in the morning about 4:45 to get down here by 5 and start cleaning up before the Polly's traffic comes in by 5:30. And we'll get the rest of it all cleaned up, salted and hopefully melting, and we'll be done with that. And they'll be moved on to other things and off of Main Street. So we worked it out. It'll be a lot cheaper. It will only cost us 4 people, 2.5 hours overtime, or a little bit more than that, and gone. So everything's working well, moving along, and Arthur's working on our sidewalk spreader for material, so that we're not dropping so much salt on the sidewalks, and that'll be good to get done finally. So
You got the pot in?
we've got this things in to fix it now, and
Okay.
hopefully the next storm we won't be dropping so much material on the road. It did its job well. I mean, it's been 14 years, I think. It's 14 years old, and that's never been replaced. So we'll get 14 more years out of it, hopefully. So,
We have the parts one, right? We bought a parts one.
the
We bought
part,
an extra one for parts last year.
no,
We
this
bought a
one,
bunch of parts, yeah.
Yeah, we bought,
Spare parts.
oh, no, this is the spreader on the back of the machine.
right, but for that device that
The
buries the
snow
spreader,
blower.
we bought,
Yeah, for the snow blower, we bought a spare snow blower. That's there, ready to roll. So, yeah.
All right. Any questions for John?
No.
Nothing?
Haven't had much of a chance to get to the computer work and everything. I didn't get a report to you guys this week because of the storms and stuff, so I'll get to that soon.
Well, the storms are the most important part.
I figured,
I can
yeah.
wait on the computer stuff.
Right.
I agree with John.
How is the
Joe.
ice rink?
We filled it as much as we could, and it's just not working out for.
If you're gonna keep the liner whole, it's gonna be hard to set up. It's got holes in it, it's not holding water. What you gotta do, to me, is cut it into two, and then you're gonna have to do some patching on it, and I'd just get some Gorilla Tape,
Yeah, I was gonna say, you can just tape it.
because it's just flowing northeast, heading over toward Tanger. When I shut it off last night, didn't look like any water had stayed in it, it just flowed through the hoses,
too bad.
it melted down through.
Can we come to decision if it's worthwhile for the rest of the year to keep proceeding with it, or just
Just call it a wash.
call it a wash?
At this
And
point-
let's be prepared next year,
Yeah.
send all the effort. I think it's,
Is it fixable?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, yeah,
Patch
just
it.
needs a liner.
I would make a suggestion to the Parks Commission that we find a different way to store it next year, because the majority of the holes are been chewed in there by mice.
Yeah, it doesn't fit down there, but we were not allowed to put it at Public Works.
No, we gotta do something with it, because it's the
Put it
mice
on
that
Public
are,
Works,
mice are destroying it.
if the board approves.
Well, I don't know where
Some
we
of
put
it's
it, but
mice,
There you
some of
go.
it was skaters from one of the early years.
Yeah.
The first year when we had the 18-inch drop, the whole length.
Before we leveled it.
Well, so far, how many years we've had it, we haven't really enjoyed a long period of time on it.
Yes, we have.
When?
One winter, that's it.
No.
Yeah.
Joe, yes.
One
Yes,
winter.
Joe, because Peter
One
and I
winter.
were out there snow blowing it. That's one
Exactly.
time we were
I
snow blowing
remember
it,
that.
And there were skaters waiting to go on it.
I've never seen a skate mark in it.
I've
Well, then
seen
you haven't-
skaters on
Then you
it.
haven't
Yeah.
been there, because there have been
Right.
skaters
Oh,
on it.
I've been there
only
at
used
least
it
once a
one-
week.
The point is, it's redundant, redundant. Let's go forward. What do we need to do to make it viable for next year?
Is there a place to store it?
Well, it
We'll
needs to
have
get
to
set up
come
in
up with a
November,
place to
not
store it.
December.
I mean, the frame, it's the liner.
The liner's what really
Everything
needs to
else
be
fits in
stored.
the shed.
Yeah, everything
Liner
else
is
is fine.
huge.
is there room
and
at
bulky.
the barn down by the Grange, the senior center?
Oh,
Yeah,
that would be difficult to get it in there.
It would be.
This is not something that humans can easily lift.
There's no lifting this.
yeah, if
The
we
bucket
cut
of the bucket of the loader maybe,
Is
but
going to drive over the patio and whatnot that's out back?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
no, you have to go in the back. There's room in the back of the patio to get in
Oh.
there. But there is room, we have a lot of mice in that building. A lot of mice. That's why we don't store things in
love-
there,
yeah.
unless they're in buckets.
We'll have to come up with a place between now and springtime when it's time to tear it down and figure out what we can do with it.
What do
you
you
put
need
it
to
up on
do?
that level
Barrier.
inside of
The
public
mezzanine.
work, the mezzanine.
Like a
If you
bear.
lift it up there with the bucket,
We could lift it up there, but I'll have to
Salt shed.
figure out.
It is really.
I'll brainstorm. I don't know. We'll brainstorm about.
What are you gonna do about the liner for next year? Use the one we have?
I don't.
I would use it and get some other patch over it,
Get some 10 mil poly?
yeah.
What does it cost for a new liner? I'm just curious.
I don't know.
I don't even know the answer to that.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd have to check, because it's...
This one's patchable.
You just tape over it.
Okay.
You
So
got-
then I would, my,
look to
my,
the news.
my thought would be to abandon it this year and just,
Yeah.
I mean, let's not waste more resources on doing it if it's not gonna work.
You got forks for your loader backhoe?
Mhm.
So you put it on a pallet, then you can
Yeah.
find a spot we can look to store it.
We roll it onto the pallet with human power and then lift.
You know, maybe this summer, or towards the end of the summer, we can get out there with some tape and spread it out. in the
Well,
parking lot
the
somewhere.
thing is,
Yeah,
if we
spread it out
if
in
you
the
set it
parking
up
lot.
in November, you can get it laid out good, get some water and hold it down and all. But
But
it's almost
why
always
don't-
done in December.
But if we had manpower in the summer when it's hot and nice, you spread it out, tape it, wash it down, roll it up.
Can.
Now you've got it
Tape sticks
No.
good and...
taped,
Good idea.
right, and then November, it's all set, ready to
Plan
go.
on doing that?
Well, what we made,
What was
if we
it
cut it into two, then all you do in November is tape that one seam.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we make it into two pieces, you saw how fun it was to move that.
Yeah, I tried to help.
Are you surprised?
Yeah, it was heavy.
All right, okay, so that's, I think that's what we're gonna do. Right, is abandon it this year and then go start
Yes,
a plan
then
next
let's-
year.
but let's not
And try to figure
drop
out
it.
its,
Yeah, I don't want to drop it. I think
Place.
it's worthwhile.
Let's
It's
make
a-
sure we pick it up in the spring. Thank you, Johnny. There's a door in the front, the one that we don't use. You can see
downstairs.
daylight. It's at the foot of the stairs. So when you walk down these stairs, it's the set right in front of you. Those are the ones we don't use. But if you stand there and look from essentially the latch down, it looks like the right-hand door as you face it has kicked out a little bit. So you can see this daylight strip all the way down, and it gradually gets bigger
Okay.
to almost, what, a quarter
Quarter
of an inch
inch,
at the bottom?
yeah.
So the right door, when I look at it, from which
Well, the
side?
right door, when your back is to the stairs and you look at it. But it needs some type of
Needs some
weather
type of-
Weather
stripping
stripping, okay.
that's not going to harm the door.
Right,
I'll
We
look
just have
into
to
what I
finish.
can do for that. Last time when I was here, John mentioned the stop, the door stop, and
On that one.
which door was it? I tried to look for it when I left.
The front set of doors that everybody goes through, if you're exiting through the door, on the right-hand side as you're exiting, down by the bottom, there's that little thing that comes up, goes like that. It's supposed to be rubber tipped on the end, and it's just metal, so if somebody opens the door, it will break through the finish. It should have a rubber.
Okay, on the very front, right here,
Yeah.
the wooden door, the door we just had repaired.
It's not the sweep, it's the, so you don't open the door and slam the wall.
Oh, I know what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
yeah.
The door stop.
Door
The door
stop.
stop. It's missing its rubber.
Maybe you could put
The safety
a leg
pipe.
cap or something over the whole thing.
Okay.
or-
you can get those little rubber
I
tips
don't know how
at,
that one's held in there. It's just cement,
right,
yeah.
Epoxy.
Yeah,
No,
I didn't
because
look
I
at it
looked for it
real
on the
close.
way out, I
Yeah.
wasn't sure
yep,
which
That's-
one, so I'll check that again tonight.
okay.
And at the same time, I know I mentioned a while ago, I don't know if it's the cleaning company that did it or what, but the men's, or the bathroom downstairs, the hinge is sprung, or the
The big one or the little one?
public.
Okay.
And so every time you open it, and now it's chafing at the top. What I suspect is they,
Fix that once.
Yeah, it happens periodically.
Should we just get a hold of the hinge?
I don't know, maybe somebody could look at it.
there's some screws that have to go in there, but usually the reason why that happens is cleaning companies, when they have an automatic door closer, they will go and put something in the hinge to keep it from closing. And anytime you do that to a hinge door, it springs the hinge and breaks the jamb. They should never do that. It should always be.
Refill the bucket, the mop bucket.
Yeah, but they don't need to keep the door open, the room's big enough. They could be in there with the door shut, filling their bucket.
Or the other thing to do is to install one of those little legs that folds down, or put a stopper in the bottom, but make sure, maybe we should mention to them to never put anything in our hinge sides of the doors.
Look at the cameras.
But, yeah, take a look.
I'll try to look at that too.
The other thing we've noticed is that in the employee restroom, the sink, it just takes forever for the water to go down. You notice that?
Which is the employee
The
restroom?
little one across from Cindy's office,
Right across from town clerk's office.
if you're looking
Oh,
east.
okay, yeah.
Maybe that just, maybe needs to be unhooked and something come out.
Take the trap off and clean it out.
I can come over tomorrow then and try to look at all those.
Okay, and you're gonna get back to me on the cost of a dumpster, right?
Yeah, I was thinking if they do a 15-yard dumpster.
15.
That's probably better for you guys.
Okay, a senior center floors. Okay, any other questions for John? No? Okay, I guess you're all set.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
I'm gonna take off and get some sleep.
Yeah, there you go.
Why would you do that?
I don't know. Have a good night.
Yeah, you too.
No, Johnny.
I know I'm not on the agenda yet, but I just thought I'd come back and get in a comfortable chair. I know I'm not on the agenda yet.
Chief's not here, we'll take you. We'll move you.
What's public input?
He's on his way
When's public input?
now. Well, Chief, Public Input, Town Administrator.
I can,
Neither are here.
There's no public
Get
input.
moving. I want
So
to be done.
let's go with you, and then we'll get going.
okay, let's start with warrant articles. We had a request today to see if the town, if the selectmen would put an article in on allowing the exemption on solar energy systems.
Yeah, I probably should ask
It's,
Lauren about that.
we did. That's why Al and I spent quite a bit of time talking with her about it today and did some research. It's RSA 7262, and basically the warrant, it can be on the warrant, and the selectmen can put things on the warrant. Shall the town adopt the provisions of RSA 7262 for the property tax exemption on real property equipped with solar energy systems, which exemption shall be in the amount equal to 100% of the assessed value of the solar energy systems. So this would only apply to people that are putting in new systems, because right now, the exemption isn't in effect. So if there's people that have them now, it doesn't apply, so it would just be going forward. And they would make an application just like they do an elderly exemption, veterans exemption, what have you. There are a couple ways you can do it. You have to define how you're going to value the solar energy system. The one that Lauren likes the most is where you say the annual assessed value. And usually, they use what's the cost approach to valuation, so they would look at the installation, establish what the cost is, and then you would then depreciate that over the years.
So that's not a one-time deal?
The exemption, they figure the effective life is usually 25 to 30 years.
So why would we discriminate with people that may have installed this year and say, oh, sorry, you're screwed because you came in before it was adopted, but if I put it in next year, oh, I get it.
Because you can't make laws
You can't go backwards, you can't go retro.
Can't do that. I mean, if you
So why
got,
would we
if you got a
eliminate wind?
disability, you wouldn't be able to get the
You can do
exemption for
wind?
last year.
What happens if somebody decides that they have 10 acres of land, they decide to put a whole bunch of solar panels in, and just to sell electricity back? We don't assess that business?
Does the statute cite for your own use
Structures.
only, or can it?
No, it's all in the same statutes. The way it's adopted in the statutes that are specific to a resident and your home.
Oh, it says, for persons owning real property.
Well, but John has a good point.
Yeah.
If, like
They could
Catherine,
make
that
some
has
extra money.
150 acres, if she wanted to put up 1,000 solar panels and sell that energy back to her neighbors, what's from stopping her, and she gets 100% exemption back of the value.
Value,
Of the
not
value.
the cost, yeah.
Here's the definition. In this subdivision, solar energy system means a system which utilizes solar energy to heat or cool the interior of a building or to heat water for use in a building, and which includes one or more collectors and a storage container. Solar energy system also means a system which provides electricity for a building by the use of photovoltaic panels. So does that mean,
For persons owning real property.
so does this mean that you couldn't, if you're gonna apply for this, you couldn't sell your electricity to somebody else?
That
Because
doesn't
it has
say-
to be
doesn't say
utilized.
you
Didn't say that.
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
As
you
long as
can't.
the electricity for a building.
It has-
Hold on. Catherine's still reading.
It says it has to be utilized to heat or cool the interior of a building.
Of a building, right?
It doesn't say
Of
that
a
specific building.
Yeah,
Doesn't say the building that goes with the property.
that's right.
Yeah, you have a point.
Or you could have a
Stretch.
trailer park that has a community center and they're selling to everybody on the piece of property they
Good
own.
point.
and
It
charge them.
does say, one or more collectors, too.
So the question here to the board tonight is, are we willing to put this on the warrant?
No.
That's the question.
Not at this time. It's too...
Too many unanswered questions.
I would
for
like
us.
to have seen how other towns have done this, if they have.
Well, I have. I contacted the 5 communities in Belknap County that have it.
We don't, when do we have to have our warrant? 14 days before town meeting? 2 weeks?
February
It's 2 weeks, isn't it?
February 22nd.
Just
We
2
have to
weeks.
post it.
So we could decide next week.
I'd like to do that.
So just quickly,
Can you scan that and send us that information?
all of these, yep.
All right.
Yep,
Good.
there
Then
are a
we
number
will-
of communities that do
Give
it.
us a couple
A couple,
communities.
yep.
As much as I like solar power, by decreasing the values of those properties based on solar power, that increases the amount we have to raise from other people.
That is true.
That's true.
Yes, but they're asking us to put it to the legislative body to let them decide, so all those arguments could be made there. But could you give us a community?
The only being
Oh,
reduced
right now?
is the
Okay.
value
I
of
just would like to vote
the
for
solar.
They're not asking us to
Well, I
make
can
that decision.
scan these.
No, the value of the property based on the value of the solar component.
Still, it's just the solar components.
two?
What they add to the value would be,
Off the top of your
not the buildings itself.
Right. It's just the value of
So
the...
it says if it's not there.
Belmont, Gilmanton,
Charge for the
Meredith, and
value of
Samberton.
Solar rotate sales
Wow, nice.
currently.
But they gave me copies of their warrant, so we know how they're defining it, and
So-
also
Oh,
how
they're
many...
putting it on
The
this year?
property
No,
value.
they have them already.
Okay, good, that's all I need.
They have them already. I have copies of their warrants, how many people they have annually,
Money?
and the amount that's being exempted.
Great, and you're gonna
And
scan that?
Yes. This all came up just
And
when,
you're gonna send an email or put it on the drive thing?
how do you want? Okay, you can do that.
I can get it.
Okay.
Thank you.
The next one is, I talked with Catherine a little bit about this on adding the body piercing. So I think for the warrant and for the town report, it would be, we're just going to add to amend to include body piercing. And then that will give us time between now and actual town meeting that we can have the actual ordinance drafted, like where it's going to enter body piercing. Correct? Okay. And then what are we doing about the housing ordinance?
I finished it at 3:15, I think, and sent it to you.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I did. I apologize for being so late, but with the election and everything else, I was just...
I hear you.
I made some changes to Pittsfield. I added the language that was changed at the legislature last year. So more, because theirs was done before that change.
Yeah, which,
Well, there's a part where a selectman on that committee
right.
would need to recuse himself, and I can't remember the exact situation, so I added that language. Small things, when you go through it, there's a section, they talk about swimming pools. I added language so that they would have, they'd have to anyway, because it's state law. There's a state law about swimming pools, and DES has a administrative rule, but I just cited them in it, and things like that, so there's some changes.
Okay.
Not many, but I think they more pertain to Tilton's use of it. And I think it would help if you could add the language in the back. I don't remember who gave it to you, that would allow the selectmen to amend it from time to time.
So you're going to scan that and send it so that we can see it too?
So
Okay.
next week, we can talk about, I think it's an important document.
Now, how many pages is it? Because I think it might be too much to put in the annual report, but we can have it
That's what we
printed
did last year.
and
I think
distributed.
it's like, I'm gonna say 30 pages.
Didn't we withdraw it from the 2014? So we didn't print it?
Yes, we didn't print it in the,
No, we said it was available.
we said it was available, right.
Okay.
Yes, it's
All right.
available.
Okay.
And we had copies available for it.
Okay. And then we're coming along with the town report. The only things we're missing are just my things, Tim's financials, and the selectmen's, what you're working on. Of the outside agencies, the Parks Commission and Old Home Day have not submitted anything.
Senior.
Neither has the Island.
Could
And
you
the
send a
seniors.
reminder
Three.
to the chair of the Parks Commission,
And the senior committee.
Bob?
I thought we got the senior.
Was that Peg being in charge of the Old Home Day?
Who
She has
wrote it?
been.
I'm on the committee, but Peg Shepherd is the,
Who wrote it, Joyce?
I think Jane Alden did, but maybe I was looking at the wrong one, because what
Last year.
Tim did is he copies over the 2014s,
Yeah.
renumbers them, so the page numbers, and then we went through our list of what we had, how many pages we thought, and who we were missing. So Old Home Day, Parks,
I don't have my sheet, what was our deadline?
it was the last Friday in January,
That's what I thought.
chat.
No, it's not
Island.
chat.
Senior Executive Committee.
Right.
Yes, well, that's what I was looking at, was Senior Executive Committee.
We combined it to make it the Tilton Senior Center.
Yeah.
So if they don't
Island
send them, we can
concerts.
go forward without them, those are not required.
Right. Well, true, but I definitely Senior Executive Committee.
So it would be nice to have that in there.
And Park Cemetery, that was the other one.
I think that needs to be in there.
Park Cemetery?
Yes, that's
That's
a
our town
requirement.
cemetery.
Has
I'd have to check the
It's a
list,
requirement.
And then, so I know you were working on the selectmen's report for the selectmen. I've been working on the dedication, and I still have to contact the person for the in memoriam. And the things that I submit are just, it's all templates, so I just have to update it, so it doesn't take long. Same with Tim, it's just all templates, and then the warrant, of course. So I think we're in much better shape this year than we were in the past, time-wise.
I think
I'm not, I don't
the
have
Conservation
it,
Commission.
know what to say.
We have theirs.
But did they put
I
anything in there
agonized
about
over that
Ernie's?
last year. I think it turned out well, but it took me a long time to write.
Just know they've come
Okay.
in.
It would be
I'll
nice to
check when I
have-
go, I'll check.
It would nice to have something
If I
in
think
there
of some
about
things, I'll send
Why
you
not
a
that?
that property is
Why don't you write it?
transformed.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit of financing,
I just
so
really-
taxpayers knows how we did it.
Yep.
And then we could
And,
tweak it.
I know that Kathy Mitchell could probably put a nice collage of pictures together before, during, and after.
Okay.
I don't know how everybody else feels, but I think that was an important project.
Especially the one of
Yeah.
the Ernie's building before.
Oh, yes, and I think that we should give Kaderi some credits there, because it was,
And
it was
credit
it was
Lowe's
pleasant working with them on this. Far
for
better
the
than-
island.
Yeah. you
Get
should-
Lowe's for the island, that was very early.
I have that, I think I have that. I have,
I was thinking it was 2014.
I went through all my pictures, and they were of the island, and
the
a lot of
anniversary of the island.
I
police.
have Cannon
awards.
Bridge,
That's good. We
the
should-
MetroCast
we should do that.
cabling grant, Ernie's, the people coming and going, the gazebo,
At the anniversary of the gazebo.
New floor in the senior center.
and then that would be next year. The Halloween costume party, remember?
And the costume party.
Yeah.
That was a fun
Do you want a
thing.
little picture of that?
There's a nice picture somewhere of the gazebo dedication, isn't there?
It's gotta
County
be.
Roads has some, I know that.
Oh, because we need a cover picture. What do you want to do for a cover?
I don't know. Did we do Ernie's yet?
Yes, you did.
I thought we did that last year.
We did a collage of Ernie's
Yeah.
last year,
Okay.
accepting the check and all that, yep.
We could get the
Oh,
new
but that
kitchen
was
in the
in-
police station.
That was the
Somebody
town
else,
report.
yeah.
Get the new kitchen cabinets in the police station. That would be a nice, it must look nice, don't it?
What about some of the things that the Parks Commission has done?
The animals.
Do put pictures
It's
of that
kind of
on-
obscure. I mean, we, in the trail at Buffalo Park,
Well, I mean, you do the parades and,
well, the Christmas event, but,
Yeah.
we go down and trim all the brush down at the river.
John down there along the
Cut
edge
down
of the
some
river. Well, no, that would be concert.
Going out there in the spring
The
early, I got
cleaning,
a
yeah,
tool
so
now.
it's,
You see me. I
the
got
wildlife
spring-
event. And I wish that the park commissioners would do more about that. I would like them to promote, have a page of the events that are planned this year. there's 2 wildlife encounter events,
That would be a great idea in the report.
The
there's,
Have
front
a
page
right.
with an animal on there,
Yeah,
some kind
there's,
of crazy beast.
I've got to make contact, I'm in the process of making contact for the Let's Go Fishing. And, and there's a Easter egg hunt. There's other things that I'm forgetting. So for a picture for the front, I don't know. What do you guys think?
The new
I would say-
loader?
I would say the gazebo.
Nice shiny piece of equipment, this is
We
what your
must have
taxes
the
for.
gazebo.
Well,
No.
Well, we could do...
Did you really say that?
We've
She
got...
said it, I
We've
heard
got
it.
some old pictures of the
Go over there
gazebo,
tonight, see if
what
they
the
put the
original
lights on so
gazebo
we
was,
can-
pictures of the island, and then...
I think if we put a picture of the original gazebo on that, it
And the
would-
new gazebo.
and then the new gazebo, people would go, huh. The other one was a summer house. It was
Right.
not a gazebo. It was
Right.
colossal.
Do we have any pictures of people going to the concert and singing? I mean, the
Yeah,
audience?
Allison's got a lot of them.
Yeah, she's got a Facebook site or something.
Yeah, she's got a Facebook page.
All right.
Just go on the Facebook page.
What's the matter with just a,
Picture of a statue?
a random picture? We have,
Picture of the statue.
Timetable Mabel's been on it.
Listen, why don't
It's a good
you do
picture.
a collage of the statues?
Well, we could do that.
Absolutely.
I got some pictures of the Mabel being scrubbed.
Squantum's been on, and Timetable Mabel's been on,
So let's put them all on.
again.
All together?
That's what Tilton is those statues. And the arch, but I hate to put the arch on there, seeing that it's in Northfield.
True, but the only place you can really see
Not
it
that
from
I-
is from Tilton,
You have to be from Tilton to look over
to
about
look
it,
over at it.
especially now. You can't see
You
it in some of
can, you
them.
can see it from,
Lots of places in Northfield from the other side of the hill.
from Zion Hill you can see it.
Yeah. What about our explorers?
Hey, I like that.
What about our young people who are
Encourage
interested in law
Do
enforcement?
the right thing, they're in there. I like that.
Can you get a group
Those
photo?
guys are really cool.
Yeah, I have a real nice one, we just did.
Oh, good.
Got the old sign.
Is there anything wrong with putting them on the front of our annual report?
No, they love it.
Well, I'm just thinking, in this year of
Let's try and encourage you.
the horrible epidemic, and now we've got these young people, people don't know they're there.
Pay attention to the youth now, too.
I like it.
And then maybe some, one page, Tim, one page of what they do, how to apply, where to apply. And
Yeah.
that might encourage other young people too.
Yeah.
Excellent.
What do you think?
But that's a good one, that's an easy one.
Yeah.
Whose idea was that?
I was just thinking of young people.
All right, you just did it?
Great, Catherine. I think that's great.
Yeah?
Yep.
Okay, there it is, right there.
You can still put a picture of the gazebo in...
Right there.
Oh, yes,
in the-
Probably should be some kind of mention about the island concerts or whatever it was that
We put-
they had an
we print the,
anniversary.
Their calendar, but she
We
hasn't
put
said
the
anything.
schedule usually,
Yeah.
we could put a blurb on there.
Should be, because I think it was an anniversary
Yeah.
year,
Yeah.
this year or last year.
Yeah.
Put a big heading over the top.
Got done.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So could we, is it Abe that does them?
Richard Ort,
Oh, it's Richard. I knew that.
see the old sign?
Oh, yeah. That's a nice picture. So could he write something up that explains what the explorers are? And then make sure he has something in there about how, if you want to join the explorers, how to do that?
And how many years TD's been doing it?
Type of duty, that would be awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, problem solved. Next.
Next.
Do we have
I just have-
materials, binders?
We
Paper.
took an inventory today to order all that.
No,
Tim,
toner and all that.
Tim did that today.
Got a volunteer.
Oh, no, Tim's all about that, and I'm on that too. I'm really good at those little
Yeah, you are.
Got
spiral
it.
things now.
We got it.
I like
Wait,
it.
this will be Gail's first.
Yeah, she's excited.
Excited, oh, yeah.
And the
You
vacuum.
say that now.
Oh, yeah.
This is the professional services agreement for the CDBG for Lane to do the Gaslight Village Implementation Grant. And I didn't have it for you last week because Tim hadn't looked at it yet. So he looked at it. It's the same one we've had before.
It's the same one that we made a motion last week to
No,
sign?
that was the sub-recipient agreement.
Okay,
What
so
is-
we need another motion to sign.
So
For
moved.
the chairman to,
Certificate the authority of the chairman
No,
to sign.
second. Let's say second.
The Board of
I want to
Selectmen.
get moving.
Second,
Second?
Yes.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Where is Gaslight Village at with this? What are they doing? I know what they're looking for, what they were investigating, but where does this put them? I've lost that.
well, they'll be submitting a request to... Oh, I'm not prepared to answer that. My whole folder's downstairs. I've got a
Okay,
whole
so they went
summary.
forward to see if it was viable, and
Yes.
it is?
Right, and this CDBG part
Oh, I
is
see.
separate from the RDA part.
Yeah. Okay,
So the two aren't dependent upon one another.
good.
But I'll make sure you have all that.
Next.
Okay, New Hampshire Municipal Association, disposition of member legal files. It says the purpose of this letter is to advise you that NHMA plans to destroy all client files that are older than January 2010. So they want a communication from us if we want to have that returned to us. I would love to have this is whenever we send inquiries.
Yeah,
legal
let's get them
opinions.
back.
Let's get them back.
Get her done.
So is that all right? And
back.
I just have to
It
send them a
doesn't
letter?
cost anything, sure.
Right, okay, and I think
John,
we'll
what do
just
you
keep
think?
them and scan them, and then,
Do you know how many that's
Will
gonna be?
they scan 'em?
I bet I send them one weekly.
Well, and we throw out the ones that don't apply, but if we...
Oh, I don't throw them
true,
out.
but all they have to do, instead of
ones that
putting it in
don't
a
apply.
trash can, they just pick them all up and they put them in a box, or I can offer, say, we can come down and pick
Can
them
they
up.
send them electronically? They might already have them all electronically, that's the way we ask
I'll
them
put them on
for.
a disc.
It says maintains records of these legal inquiries,
the
including
floppy.
physical files containing copies of emails and correspondence, as well as any documents submitted and the legal advice provided. They also maintain an electronic database where the content of the inquiries and replies are recorded. These records are confidential due to the, attorney-client privilege.
Well, I think it's a good idea to
Get
have
what you've
copies.
got.
of
Let
it.
them electronically do it.
And then we'd have to seal them once we get them.
Yeah.
Well, we have to put them in a safe place. Next.
Okay, just a couple, just quickly, I thought that meeting went well last night. I thought, it's
I
a
thought
start.
Scott Davis did a fabulous job of keeping everybody on task
Yep.
and keeping it moving forward in the topic that we were there to discuss.
Yep.
Yes,
I was a little dismayed that there were topics that Tilton could discuss, but we can do that another time.
right.
That wasn't the forum, but I agree with you, Catherine.
Well, two things that relate to that is they are sending us notices now, and they're having their February 22nd, they're having a planning board meeting where they'll be discussing compliance with that site plan review, so.
In Belmont.
In Belmont,
Yep.
so if you don't mind, I would like to go.
I think it's important that somebody goes.
Okay. Secondly.
You going, John?
I've got some serious issues with what went on last night.
I
I think they
understand that.
skirted over everything and painted it just as if and the things that they're planning on doing are not going to do squat. And I've asked for copies of stuff from them, and they still haven't gotten them.
Well, I thought it was just the 2015 EPA report.
The annual
Report, right.
report, yeah, and, I mean, I asked for that on the 25th of January.
Right.
So
And
you
since then,
you
there've
do it
been
again in
requests
accordance
from
with
my-
RSA 91A.
Did you
and
send them a?
I asked
No,
Dory to
Dory
do it.
did.
Did Dory actually physically ask them?
Yes.
Do we have
and I
proof
did
that we
too.
did it?
Yes, yes.
And now we need to
And we have a
send them-
response back saying, yes, we'll get it to you as soon as we can.
Okay, so
we need to
how long
send
ago
it-
was as soon as we can?
The last response was, let's say Thursday, it was just Wednesday.
Yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So
But
they-
that, but she had been
See,
asked,
why-
I had asked, and then he had asked again, and then she responded. Candace did, Wednesday.
Oh, so their response was Wednesday.
Yes,
No.
her last response. But we've asked twice.
So
since
probably
you
the
asked.
second time should have been a written 91A request that limits them to, what, 5 days?
And then, well, yes,
Unless.
yes, and they could write back and say, well, it's going to take us to get it. She didn't say that they had it.
Well, they're supposed to be doing this. They're doing inspections and they're monitoring all of that stuff, and they're Doing
So-
it, this is a file they said last night that they keep track of all that stuff, and
So-
they don't.
Next
It's horrible.
Thursday, let's know whether or not they've sent it, and then we'll officially 91 AM from the Board of
Well,
Selectmen.
it's interesting, if they've been doing business inspections and they have copies of those reports, why can't we see those?
Yeah.
She sent a couple of emails today that I forwarded to the board. I have not had an opportunity to read them.
They don't include the survey. They say.
Information pertaining to last night's meeting.
Don't recall seeing
Yeah,
them at all.
Initial
you sent them out
aquifer
Oh,
letter.
yeah, I did.
from
We're done?
Candace.
Yeah, I did.
Right.
Talked about last night's meeting.
Oh, I thought we already adjourned.
No, I just
Second.
I'm done. Okay. You have 3 documents that I emailed, and they're in your dashboard, and they all start with New Hampshire DOT.
Yep.
You don't have to talk about them tonight. One is on the
Lights,
lights,
roads.
and the other is on the, in fact, this is the original that goes in the FYI.
What's it under dashboard?
It's under New Hampshire DOT. It's a separate file. It's not in a separate file. There are 3 separate documents.
Oh, paving, crosswalks,
And, yeah,
lights.
yeah. And the one that's really going to get you going is,
We've got
well, the bridge. The bridges.
Peter.
The bridges.
shared 1255.
I don't know.
Oh,
Light
when
poles,
they pushed
paving,
it
and
all.
crosswalks.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to suck it in.
But the one dated February 1st, the Highway Maintenance District 3 Proposed Resurfacing Program.
Yep.
That's where they have all the forms on the crosswalks that they want to eliminate. So look to the back.
February what?
We just tell them no.
The originals right now are in your FYI.
On the,
So I'm going to keep them
on the
in-
one that, the maintenance one?
Yeah, on the maintenance one. And I'm going to keep,
And,
why do I have 2?
Some of those crosswalks have been there since 1931.
relocate
so I
US in front of Cumberland Farms, footbridge to park. Restrict 20-minute parking on both sides, update ramp east side. Relocate south away from concrete panel and bridge.
I'm making myself now. New Hampshire DOT is by themselves.
Here.
By themselves.
Kevin, here's an extra.
Oh, thank you.
20 feet, not 20 minutes, 20 feet from crosswalk both sides, US Alley Street. Eliminate Tilton House of Pizza. Eliminate School Street at Tilton School stair location.
So, I have a
Then
question.
they want us to accept it, and we're saying no.
I'm saying no.
So it's something that we don't have to, the only ones that they've really approved, they're relocating 1, 2, 3, relocate westerly away from hydrant, US Street east side in front of the monument hydrant. Restrict parking 20 feet minimum from crosswalk both sides. They're taking out the entire front parking in front of Town Hall.
No, they're not.
Yeah, they are.
It's our parking. They don't
I'm trying
own
to
it.
tell you what they're trying to do,
Oh, where is that?
right here on this back
We're
of this
saying losing a
page.
parking space to the south.
It says restrict parking both 20 feet minimum from crosswalk, both sides.
And I'm gonna tell them no, just like we always have.
So this is westerly away from the hydrant. The hydrant's out here, right? Am I right? By the monument?
The hydrant's at the monument in the middle of the street.
Right. And they want to relocate that.
No,
It says relocate westerly, away from hydrant.
And we're gonna tell them no.
That's what they're saying. And then they say, US School Street, east side, in front of monument hydrant. Restrict parking 20 feet minimum from crosswalk both sides.
No.
That one spot.
That would lose at
Do you
least
think that...
3 on that side and this
And
one.
I know it's gonna give them extra work, but do you think that Dari could take this, like he did with the 911, and put this on that type of map so we could
We'd
see
love to do that.
exactly what's affected? What do you think of that,
I think that's an excellent idea.
Peter?
Get her done.
You're done.
So, School Street and High Street, relocate east and southerly, extend the sidewalk. So,
School Street and High Street?
that's what it says. Crosswalk description, school/High Street. Where's High Street? That's nowhere.
What did we do with the other document when they were doing everything but Main Street? What did we agree to on
The
that?
extension of the road that they
Mid-block, did we
closed
agree to
off.
anything with mid-block?
High Street used to go, keep right on going. and
We
connect
agreed
with
that we would
School Street.
maintain them, the one at Deer Street and the one in front of the Cumbly Farms.
But they weren't gonna remove the crosswalks, right?
No,
We're not,
no, but I'll pull that out.
you know, they're saying they're not going to paint the sidewalks. But when they're finished, we're gonna paint the sidewalks back to where they were. Because we're not gonna sign these. We told them we weren't gonna sign these.
Yeah.
We already told them to
On
expect.
top of that, we have to buy the signs to block out the parking, too.
Well, what's nice is,
Onions loses parking over there, we lose parking over here, and then 20 feet in front of the other one over here that they want to,
We
in
lose
front of
those
haircuts
too.
for men.
Those are angled parking, so we
Plus
lose
the
them.
handicapped one
Plus
on
the
other
handicap on the
side.
other side we lose. Plus the haircuts for men in the alley, they want to take that away too. I mean, why don't we just restrict parking downtown
the last
That's
time
what they would
did
like.
this, I think there were 23 spaces,
that they wanted to take out?
I think so. But
No.
it says mid-block crosswalks on state-maintained highways are the maintenance responsibility of the municipality,
Well, then
except in school zones.
we'll,
And then it tells you on the back page that mid-block crosswalks on state-maintained roads shall be striped as continental design,
Or diagonal.
the MUTCD. But there are some
Care if they have to
maintained.
be solid,
Here's trying to look for the date, May
it's not
3rd.
gonna happen.
orange,
All right,
So we'll,
buy orange paint.
that would be easier to look at if Barry could do that.
okay,
At least for me.
For next week? Thanks.
let me just double check, I think
No.
I'm all done.
You want to eliminate the
Tim's
mid-block
report.
crosswalks.
Oh, no, these
That says
are,
here, pedestrian crossing.
an elderly and a
warning sign.
veterans exemption.
All mid-block crosswalks will be installed and maintained by the department. They're gonna take them out, but they're gonna put the signs up.
Okay, so. That's crazy.
Yeah, the Monday, February 22nd at 6 o'clock is the compliance hearing. So did you want to go? I'll go to that if you go. If you
what?
go, I'll go.
Monday,
February 22nd,
For what?
Belmont.
Belmont, the compliance hearing.
This is
Yeah.
for, Casella?
Yeah, site plan conditions, precedent, approved 7/27/15, including new stormwater management pond, gravel access, empty trailer, staging area, and construction of a hot load temporary storage pad.
no, that's compliance to what?
To their site plan conditions approved before 7/27/15.
But they had additional conditions that they added on, I thought.
So what date is that
Is,
hearing?
Monday, February 22nd at 6 o'clock.
I will.
I'll have to look at their original
Yeah,
decision.
What, I want to make sure that
Not sure
when
I
we
can
go in
make
there on Monday, that we have anything to discuss, that we can get ahead of time to look at it. Including with the inspection reports and that.
Okay.
Then one other question, on in the annual report, we print the spring and fall cleanup, and I noticed that we had the old rim diameter, and before I changed it to 19 inches, I just wanted to make sure that that's what
We had changed it
that
to
you changed
19,
it to. Okay?
didn't we? Change it to 19?
What?
The rim diameter on the tires?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
19 or,
Doesn't say,
20.
doesn't say, I think we changed it to 19.
well, the problem you have now is your newer pickups are coming with 20s
Yep.
as standard, so
So it doesn't say granted.
why don't we up it
Or
to
it's
20?
not.
Here.
Oh, granted here.
Right.
Granted there, okay. And that's just for the veteran, this is for us.
So did you want to vote to change it to 20 inches?
I would.
If,
It's a standard
that's-
on a lot of pickups now.
if that's including what they'll pick up from us, right? That we can get rid of them at the same cost?
Yeah.
Do we know
Because,
that?
it's not like your
Why didn't you
5-ton...
bring this up when Johnny was here?
Because I
Well, we
didn't have
the-
it right
We
here.
have the cost that the
We still have
contractor
time.
that picks them up from us.
They increase the price when you get into your heavy trucks.
Right.
20 inches on, you can get on a half-ton pickup.
I believe it's the same price, but why don't we check to see if it's the same price? If it's the same
It
price,
is.
That's
do we
the
have an
existing.
issue? But where are the prices? We had a sheet with the prices on it.
I emailed, asked them to send me one, but they haven't responded yet. Do you have it?
Email. But we increased it a little bit. Did we not?
I think we keep,
No. We decreased it.
Did we what? Catherine, we increased the amount of
I'm
tires.
sure. No, what is it? NRR.
NRRA.
Well, and also,
Recovery.
we should also look at televisions, because this just says televisions up to 32 inches, and televisions are much bigger now.
Well, that's the old-style big box ones. I'm
Some
not
of
sure what's
those are
happening.
60s, those giant,
Yeah.
huge
They're
things.
getting
most of
thrown
those are
off on the side of the road, I know, because I
Yeah,
turn them
the-
into trash.
You can't get rid of them anywhere. I'd much rather
Keep
just
a
take them
sledgehammer
at
so
Public
that should
Works.
probably say
Yeah.
tube televisions.
Well, except for, as these two are saying, you've got some of those other big ones that if they can't drop them off at highway, they're just gonna find
They
a,
bring them out on Pest House Road.
Yeah.
I've seen them. There's no place to bring them, that it doesn't cost a fortune. We have to pick them up, then we have to get rid of them anyway.
That's the street off of
Joe, if,
Dunlop.
Simmons Ave.
Simmons Ave.
Yes.
Simmons Court.
Simmons Court.
the cost for
Tires.
disposing of televisions was based on CRT tubes, and having the tubes in them.
Well, you have
And now-
projection televisions that have no tubes, they just have giant boxes.
When they did, I
They-
asked Johnny
they
to send
have a
me a
tube
list
that
of what
projects-
he
that has the
currently
gas.
charges for things down there.
Actually, the
And I haven't
projection
gotten
of
that,
three
but
of
he's
them.
been busy.
3 tube. So what I was saying
I'll ask
is
him again.
are we paying the same price to get rid of a flat screen plasma screen, or is that less than to get rid of a tube TV, with a picture tube? Because if it's cheaper for us to get rid of a flat screen, we should reduce the price of that to encourage people to bring them in, instead of paying the price of disposing of the old gas-filled standard tube.
I think that we should do a little bit more research on this and take it up next week.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
ditto.
Okay, I'm done.
All right. Chief?
I'm gonna make sure I get all my signed things
I have
back.
one question for you, Joyce. I have one question for you, Joyce. Did the easel go back?
Oh, let's take a vote.
It did not go back. They're waiting for us to take a formal vote.
I'd like to make a motion to send back the easel.
Second.
The motion's been made and seconded to send back the easel. All those in favor?
Sure.
Aye.
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 There you go.
Let the
There's your
record
vote.
show it was unanimous.
Let the record say, easel come.
Easel go. Please put that in there, too.
Ouch!
Bravo, John.
Go ahead, I'm gonna stand by John here and get my things.
That was sad.
Oh, no, that was absolutely great. Why is it the guys liked it, the women didn't?
Okay, talk into the mic and
Pat hasn't seen
move this right along.
Moving along.
I don't sign,
the trash collection.
oh yeah, I'll sign that one. The other ones are
Right.
Kim's, I don't sign.
And Catherine, you don't sign anything, right?
I very seldom see anything to sign.
Well, well, you want to sign your trash ordinance.
Here,
Just a guess.
you'll sign that.
Trying to send this to Joyce.
All right,
All right, so just for this week, calls are about average 450 up a little bit, 9 arrests, kind of a mixture of arrests, motor vehicle stuff and some domestic violence, a couple of DWIs, drunk driving arrests. And had some residents ask for some radar on Silver Lake Road, so the guys are going to be down there from 4 to 6.
Thanks for the heads up.
You're welcome. It's to change driver behavior, however that happens.
Yeah, it is.
all right, we don't have to, does everyone have a copy of the chief's report?
I've got it right here.
Right there, okay, so, and I'll try to whiz through. So, we had a suspicious package at the high school on Monday morning that started out the day a little bit busy, but the state EOD unit came up and they x-rayed it, and within an hour, we were able to bring closure to that. And basically, how we handled that was under the advice of the experts that deal with that stuff all the time. So they pretty much guided how that hour would play out for us, and they said we did a great job, and they said that was handled in a record amount of time.
Have we reunited the box with its owner?
That's in process.
Okay.
Did you see what it was?
Yeah, school
School
notebooks, test quizzes.
Papers, books.
Just had some very
Suspension reports.
had some very strange writing on it that would make you not want to touch it.
Names all over everything. Well, I'm just wondering.
And so, we have that.
My homework.
We have that.
Chief, last time, sticking with the school incident, last time we had an incident at the school, there was confusion, lockdown in place, and people weren't notified and so forth. Did we correct those issues this time?
Well,
Didn't hear anything,
Yeah,
so
no, I
I'm
mean-
assuming, but...
We did pretty much what we did last time, just the situation was a little bit different. We isolated a different area. We did a soft lockdown. You know, the experts said their kids would be safe inside the building. It's built very strong, cinder block and steel construction. They said, you know, we, as the people handling the problem, we would rather have the kids in the school, not
I
moving
understand that. That wasn't my question. There was
Oh,
some
the-
question about, for instance,
Oh,
did you call
notification.
Chief Rafley and Chief
Yeah, all
Tankard?
agencies
That
notified
was
and-
kind of a communication thing.
Gotcha, yeah.
All right.
And,
Just wanted to ascertain if we learned anything from the last one.
right, yeah, because the last one was a threat, and this one was different. It was
Potential
just-
bomb, you know.
But how you having to notify police departments of other communities is really just an FYI.
Yeah.
And there's no action they would take unless you needed mutual aid
Right.
support. So, for the parents to be upset because our police department didn't call the police departments of the towns they live in, it's not like those police departments are going to call up every resident who has a child
No.
in school and say there's an event.
Right.
So it doesn't serve to assuage their fears of what took place. That's all I'm getting at. It's
Just a
nice
communication
gesture,
value.
an
Yeah.
FYI,
It
oh,
was
by
a
the way,
communication
this thing.
value,
In
Catherine.
case a parent does call you. But if you're in the middle of an event and you don't call those other departments, this selectman isn't going to be upset.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, some of the things that happen too is like, there's so many, I'll say to, the sergeant notify the PD, so he starts PD1, PD2, PD3, PD4. By the time he gets to PD2, the turbo message is also going out from the school. That's beating some of the calls, and so...
That's the message that needs to go out, is from the school, because I know I get it every time they delay school if something happens. That's who should be sending that message out to parents.
And so you're
Not their
objecting,
students.
you're objecting to our chief giving the other chiefs a call? Is that what you're
I'm
saying?
just saying, if he's in
Just
the
an
middle of
FYI.
a real
Oh,
event,
yeah.
it's not a box of junk, and there's a real incident there, I'm not gonna be upset if he forgets to FYI the neighboring police department.
Okay.
Just me.
Yeah, in this case, we had two of them come in. Two PDs actually came in and just handled traffic. And so that, they were there, so they would know that way. But it went really well. The guys from Concord, the state guys, said that they thought the PD did a great job down there. I thought Sergeant Morrison was there right away on scene and kind of had everything coordinated. And that symposium we have tomorrow, the Organized Retail Crime and Financial Crimes Symposium is a go, and about 110 participants, so it's going to be a full class up there. Everything
up the
from
hill?
yeah, from law enforcement to major retailers, and that'll be 9 to 1, and then we'll be feeding them up there. Polly's is the caterer for that, so
Tomorrow, right?
yeah, they're doing all the food for everyone.
Is that coming
And-
out of your budget?
Nope, Irving Corporation's covering all that.
Okay.
No issues with cars this week. The 4B
Yay,
was
Leon.
down last week. It turned out just to be a shorted wire. We ordered, or scheduled, a company to come and do the floors this weekend, to get those all buffed and sealed, so
good.
take that off the list. Everything's going good with, if I say PYC, I mean Pemmican
Yep.
Center. I had a meeting with them this week, and I met with the founder today, and everything's still a go. They're on board. We just have to meet with United Way next. We had our first fundraiser last night for the Dunkin' Donuts. Tilton Diner said ballpark around $400, about 25 people plus tips. So that's good. That's a good start. You add that to the GoFundMe, now you're at 7. Add the
Right.
pancake breakfast, you're certainly going to be over 1,000. So we're heading in a good direction, and that's not even counting some of the checks that are coming in.
Yep.
And so, you'll notice the guys are growing beards again. We have the Winnie Dip coming up. And so that's March 19th. And they asked me if I would, so probably in a couple weeks, you might see me with one, too.
Can you?
I can, actually, very, very fast, believe it or not. And then, you probably
No,
briefed them on the senior center. They're up
I
there.
have not updated them on the senior center.
Let's go back to number 7 real quick.
Yep.
Winnie Dip. There was some, over the last few years, there was some, well, by me, concern that on-duty police officers jumping in the water.
Yeah, I think that
I
came up.
admire people that are willing to jump in that water, but not at the taxpayer's expense.
Right, yeah, so we'll make those adjustments.
Okay.
Because I
Just
remember
saying.
we did cover that last
We
year.
did cover that last year.
So we don't want to bump
Okay.
into that speed bump. Well, I can, if you want, Pat, I can leave that piece to you. I just threw it in there, but,
No, we can tell them, we have a joint effort, the police department and working on the Tilton Senior Center floor. Uncle Hildy's is donating the flooring, and sometime over the next week it will be delivered. Has to sit in the location for 10 days before we can install it. We have volunteers sitting right here at the table. Also,
We don't say that long normally.
Also, there are some Tilton police
Yep.
personnel that are going to assist along with the Northfield Rotary that will rip up the old and install the new flooring. So, I mean, that is huge, huge, huge.
we had a Rotary meeting last night. They're even going to bring the Rotary into our kids. There's 25 of them, so they could be like shuttling stuff out.
Up the
So,
wood out.
Bring in the boards, oh, yeah. So do you have a flooring professional?
Is that?
No, not yet.
Okay, all right, I will line it up.
I'm just wondering with the
Okay,
school
good.
district and
Saturday.
ability, well, no, just
Leader,
like.
if
They come under the
Oh,
Rotary
yeah, you can lead
insurance
the
policy.
charge. You
Okay,
do this,
good.
you do
So,
that.
yeah, anything they do
As
under the
equipment?
Rotary umbrella, they're covered.
Do you need
I
a
need an
flooring?
exact date,
You need a
so that I
flooring
can
nailer?
line this up. So
We
you
do.
let me know.
I've got one.
So March,
Remind me.
Of what?
I've got a pneumatic nailer.
So,
Man, this guy's got everything. The installer guy's got all the equipment.
Joe has a,
My brother is a master carpenter and does this kind of work. So, I mean, as far as having all the nailers and everything we need, he's got them, but I need to give him much lead time as I can to make sure he's available in that block of time. And no, he's for Turner Construction, he's a foreman, like, project leader, so he can take care of his end.
So what we're planning on doing is moving out furniture, maybe have some Interact kids on Thursday, the 17th, in the afternoon, moving out the furniture of the main hall into the outbuilding, and then on the 18th, which is a Friday, and a Saturday, the 19th, ripping up the floor, and Sunday, putting in the floor.
Sunday the
Sunday.
20th.
Sunday and Monday, putting in the floor. I talked to the Assistant Director, Joan Beretta, for Community Action. They wanted a backup plan for the seniors, and
Stay home.
Tilton Sports Center
Just kidding.
very graciously offered their space up there for the seniors to have lunch for the days that are needed to get it back into working order again.
Should go pretty quick.
Yeah, I hope so, with the amount of people that we have. I think it's wonderful.
Nice fresh floor mats that work good. Keep stuff from tracking in now.
Usually people trip on,
20th and
Get the
21st.
special ones that
like the ones we have that don't move.
You realize
They
that
do?
doesn't leave 10 days
some
for the
stick
winter sake.
the
It's
little
gonna be on the
March
edges.
Never
I know what
mind.
you're saying, though, with the trip thing.
There's always a curled up
March.
edge or puffed up or.
Right.
School district meeting.
Can't use them. You have
You
to
can't
peel
use any mats.
You can use mats with the rubber on the sides.
Yeah.
If they're on a hardwood floor,
That's what I was thinking.
you can use them in the pathway. But to push a chair out
Is the weekend
and
before,
get in,
18th is
No, that's what I
Friday,
meant, the
19th,
mats to
school district.
nice to have
Yeah.
All right.
And then
Back to the
last-
chief.
Yep, lastly, and it a little bit crosses into Tim's report, IMC spots and cross-agency, they've been working on that all week to kind of get it into all the computers in there. We had to get some extra ORIs from the state, which is identification numbers by the state per computer, because essentially each terminal, they could go in and run a plate or something like that through IMC, which is our record management software. So they're working the bugs out of that. It'll probably take a couple weeks before they get it all done, but they've started that. Tim had mentioned in his report we're running on 10 licenses, and talking to him and the supervisors, they'd like to be up around 13 or 14. And we've had that 10 forever. And, if you get, the detectives on theirs doing reports, Lisa on one, Terry's on one, and then the sergeants are proving reports, or corporals, and then you have the intern, and they're entering stuff, you burn up the 10 quick. And then if someone's in the car and they're on it, that uses a license. So you just get through them pretty fast. We're just busier. It's a number they've had probably for 15 years as far as number of licenses go, and we're just reaching.
So are you requesting 3 additional ones or the 6?
I think the minimum we need is 3, but Tim talked to them, and I guess you get a better deal for 6.
He's proposing 3.
He's saying, I'm requesting the board's consensus to purchase 3, because he didn't give us a price for 6.
Oh,
We already have 3, right?
Yeah,
We have
so
10.
10. So Tim and I both said what we need is 3, and so maybe down the road we can look at
And add it.
yeah.
Is
So
there alternative software to IMC?
oh yeah,
That's
this
less expensive?
and very not good and scary. Yeah, the whole state's on IMC. We just went to cross agency with all the other departments through IMC. So if we were to switch, we would then lose that money we just spent with them. And it's the industry standard in
They
this
have
area.
to sign
Stop
in and out
shopping.
each time, or
They do, yeah, oh yeah.
It seems ridiculous
So-
that we have to pay for all these uses.
if somebody's using it and they don't log out, they tie up that license.
They do,
Yes.
yeah.
So,
And Tim's constantly logging them out
Yeah.
well,
in order to get another one in.
and they can't set up a timer or something for that, because I know, I get the same thing at work. We have engineering programs that are very expensive in licensing, and a lot of people would turn them on, we call them hogging them, all day, and they set it up so that if it's inactive for a period of time, you get a warning on that. But it was merely a case of people going, they want to use it, and then the more people were using it, the more other people tried to log in, so they wouldn't get bumped out. But I don't understand, how many police cars do we have on the road that would be using it?
Well, it's...
At least 3, right?
Yeah, 3, but
Three.
what happens is if one's logged in there, another one's booking a prisoner, that's a license. Someone's in the station doing a report, that's a license. Then you had Lisa, Terry, me.
The detectives.
The detectives, they're always on it at the same time. It runs our operation. Everything we do is through IMC. And I remember when I came here, that was one of the things, Merrick said, eventually we're going to run past that number. They've had that since going back to Charlie Chase, they've had that number of licenses. But
Why is Tim constantly having to log, who said it, log people off?
Log people off.
log people off? Well,
And how
They
is,
forget.
here's the other thing, what a waste of time
yeah.
for our IT director to be logging people off of a system that they should be logging off of themselves.
Yeah, and I mean, now with this new system, they have to, because spot CGIS rules are you can't walk away from it if it's logged in, so
What
yes.
exactly stops them?
What do you
They're
mean?
not chained to the desk, why couldn't they walk away?
Now, spot CGIS, you can't leave it unattended and leave it logged in. That's,
And if you do,
because
what's
now that you
the
can
penalty?
run
What's the
plates, you
What
consequence?
happens?
You could, I mean...
You get written up?
You could, by the state, yeah. Yeah, I mean, basically, we're going from a software that just did internal stuff to now it connects to the state. So-
Okay.
So
So
leaves them open.
it leaves them open. So,
All right.
I met yesterday with the sergeant, the captain, Tim, to talk about this new software is going to create those new rules.
And the word is getting down to those people who
Yeah,
need
yeah.
it, right?
Yeah, so that'll, I think, but
Okay.
still, and we talked about this as whether you had the cross-agency or not, we were still reaching that limit on licenses anyway,
Right.
so I think
So-
the 3 would,
I'll make a motion to purchase 3 additional user license ASAP
Second,
for IMC.
We keep, we've been making these motions, spending monies like this that aren't in our budget. This is something not budgeted for.
What's the price of that?
$937?
Yeah, and 50 cents.
This first time came up to me, I'd like to talk to Tim about it. And
He's
send it next week.
downstairs, he's working on
Because
ACH.
I don't see why the programs, computers don't log you off after 10 minutes in activity, because
But even-
if somebody walks away from a computer and leaves
I
it
get
on
that.
licensed out, somebody else could walk in, tamper with whatever they got.
Yes.
Yeah.
It should
But even what you didn't hear what the chief said, even with the 10, even if they all logged off, with the 10 users, they're maxed out. They're still maxed out. Even if they all logged off after 15 minutes of being used and walked away from it, and the 10 users, there's more than 10 people wanting to use it at the same time.
includes the SRO and the prosecutor.
Right.
So,
So,
That's
as soon
the
as you
issue.
get
Yes,
into
for
work,
5
you
minutes.
log into this system and you leave it on all day?
no,
How many people do we have working there at one time
yeah.
Well,
that should be using it?
you have, just in administration, you have 7, counting the detectives, and then you add the prosecutor in there.
SRO,
And-
they're all licenses.
Right.
That's
I
nice.
can't believe that we have 13 people every day sitting in front of a computer doing that.
Yeah, I mean, they
Well,
can log in.
You have Terry, the dispatcher, and you have the
Here's one
administrator.
that's essential, has to
That
be on
makes
all the time, 24.
And Lisa, who does the confidential portion of it. Yes.
Okay, but wait a minute. John has a point. Lisa, she isn't all day entering data into that.
Oh, yeah, she is, yeah. No,
Then where does she find time to do all the other stuff she has to do?
she's on IMC all day. I
Why?
mean, because people are calling for copies of reports, they want information on
Can't she turn it
accidents.
on when they call?
Even still, the minute she does, she'll dump someone off. I mean, we're running that tight.
And why is the school resource officer on it all the time?
He's a-
That many bad kids over there?
No, if he has to do reports and log his activity too, so I mean, it just gets to the point where we're always, someone has to jump off of it to let someone in. I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, we could say, yeah, do your reports later, just to be efficient and flow.
I get two right now that have to be on it, well, commonly on it quite often, right? You've got the dispatcher and Lisa.
And you have
Detective.
the sergeant and the
The
captain.
detectives on it.
The sergeant and the detectives are on it all the time. They're always looking up the
What's the sergeant doing on it?
Proven reports.
proven reports
Yeah.
that they put into IMC.
Can't they send it to him differently before it goes into IMC?
No.
Mm-mm.
It's
Why?
built.
So they
He's gotta-
do the report.
Because they're filed in
They do them in
IMC.
IMC, so he's got to prove them in IMC.
Wait a minute. Go ahead, Jeff.
So how many we at now? We've got the,
You've got the sergeant, the captain, you have dispatch, the administration, that's 4, and you have 2 detectives, that's 6. You have the SRO, which is away from us.
Prosecutor makes 7.
Okay.
those guys, I
8.
mean, they spend a lot of time in court, and they,
Yeah, the
And
booking
they're
reports.
constantly looking up on that. IMC is the guts of the whole system. I mean, that's where you're getting your database
The
from.
record keeping, it's like in our office assessing, the minute we get in, we turn on the assessing program. It doesn't get turned off until we
Right.
leave.
even if you're not using it.
Even
Right.
if I'm not
Yeah,
using
see,
it.
that's where the problem is that in
Because it
a
takes
share,
time
if you have 10
to
licenses.
fire it up each time and you're trying to work.
You get a phone call, and there's somebody that wants the information. Well, hold on a minute, I gotta log in. You gotta fire it up, and then it starts, and then you gotta log in.
What is it, dial-up?
No, it used to be a long time ago.
I mean, I'm sorry, but
It's
computer
not just-
computer
it's- it's
programming
this whole-
can't
it's
be
got a whole
AVMs for
record
10
keeping system
guys.
for
I mean,
the
come on.
police department. It's not
I
just
just can't
criminal
see
records.
13, I'm not seeing the number yet. Because we're up at 6, so that leaves 4 more.
We're up at 8 already, John.
Yeah.
Do you have room in your budget for this?
It's in Tim's, I certainly could find it in mine, but,
It's not in anybody's budget. We didn't budget
Yeah.
for it.
I mean, I definitely have it in mine.
It is nowhere in our budget. It's nowhere in the selectmen's budget.
It's something
includes
that
all the
should have
departments.
seen last year and put it into this budget, because this has been an ongoing problem for a long time. Now here's the crunch. Now you have an extra person that's doing data entry, which is the intern that they have there. So there's another use of that's there constantly. And that's being used
We're
now.
doing, an intern's doing
An intern.
Scanning and entering
Scanning.
reports,
Yep,
yeah.
scanning and entering
directly into
reports.
IMC.
Yep, directly into IMC, right.
Yeah.
Does he have to be
Plus
qualified?
the
to-
booking,
He
the
is
booking
qualified.
room uses licenses, the cars use them. It's just one of, detectives are both on them. To get the reports done, to do it efficiently, you could tell people, like, you can only use yours in the morning, and you can only use yours in the, you could start to,
It's sort of like giving them a cruiser and saying, no, I'm sorry, we can't afford the gas.
Good analogy.
See,
I mean,
I
really.
deal with this at work, and we found that, like I said, they log on, and they hog it. They figure, oh, well, I may not be able to get one, so I'm going to get in there first, I'm going to log it on, even if I'm not using it.
And I don't
It's
think that that's the case. You know, we could talk to Tim, but I really don't think that that's the
well, but
case.
yeah, the running out of licenses for us during the day isn't a log-off issue.
Right. It's not a log-off
I
issue.
got a question for Tim. I'd like to know what the 6 is.
Okay, so,
What's the
let's,
cost of
we're
6?
waiting, the cost of the 6, right? So while we're waiting for Tim, I have a question. In Tim's report refers to a certain officer going to dispatch school.
No, that's...
Please explain to
Yeah,
me.
that's spots school. So any of us that have to work on this system have to have spots training. She's the only one that hasn't been to it.
Spots
Spots,
training.
so-
Boy,
Where do you
you
get that?
got me fired right up on that one.
Where do you get that
Well-
training?
Usually it's in
It's
Concord,
academy.
but they're doing one in Laconia, I think.
That's the state police one.
State
Spots
police.
is only a day train, but dispatch was a entirely different ballgame.
Yeah.
So, Tim,
Yes.
there are concerns from the board, we won't mention any people, but there are some concerns that the number of users on IMC, the usage is because people aren't logging off. But we're trying to explain that the 10 licenses during the day are full to capacity between administration, detectives, and dispatch. So why don't you explain the usage that you found up there?
Sure. Well, first of all, the SRO is oftentimes needing to get into IMC, so he accesses it remotely. Dispatch is in, Lisa is in, the captain, the sergeant, the supervisor. Then currently we have the intern who's helping with things,
Scanning,
as well
right.
as one of the officers who hasn't been to the academy yet, who's been assigned, or she's working days and doing IMC. And then the detectives. So there's usually at least 1 or 2 detectives, and that's 10 right there. Not to mention you'll have 1 or 2 patrol officers during the day.
On the road.
Well, but they'll come in and,
Writing reports or whatever?
yeah, and they need to get in, and there were, let's see, one officer called me at one point, just 2 hours after I had bumped somebody else off, so that he could get on. And, it's a matter of calling over there, finding out who's there, who's not. The prosecutor logs in when he's there.
The question is, can we stay with the 10 if you can devise a program that would time them out with so much minutes of inactivity?
I can from a system standpoint, but I can't from IMC, because they would have done it already. But
Okay.
they don't have that. So there is, if I were to do it, they would lose data. It could corrupt a file. It would have probably not good unintended consequences
Right.
doing something like that. So
Is there a break for 6? You say you got the 3 and 6 price. What's the
You
break on
didn't,
6?
you didn't put the 6 price down.
yeah, I thought there was, and I talked to the rep about it. It's not their product. So that's part of the problem.
It is what it is then.
It is what it is. But I think, as I said.
So the
in my
6
report-
is double the 3.
Right, and we
Okay.
can always add another 3 at some point if we needed it. But the one officer is going to be, I don't know what the time frame is for her to go be trained. And then she's going to be going to the
Soon.
academy.
Very soon.
The dispatch, she's doing the dispatch.
Well, that's spots, it's not dispatch.
Okay, all right, so.
We already went through a tizzy on that one.
What's that?
How often,
Yeah.
how recently have you been called to bump somebody off of this system?
Oh, I would say it's been happening 2 to 4 times a day.
Including today?
Not today.
Yesterday?
Oh, yeah, yep, this whole week.
So even though they're required to not walk away from it, they are?
Sometimes they do, yeah. The patrol officers, prosecutor, sometimes, I've had to, when I call over there and find out, well, who's there, and I'll go through the list of who shows is logged in. And someone says, no, they haven't been here for, over an hour. Okay, they're
So
out.
now, if you bump them off, then they lose any data that they left
They
open.
lose anything that they would have left open, so.
I can't see how we have 14 people, you just listed 14 people, 14 employees using this system all the time, every day. And
But he's constantly bumping them off to use
we have
it.
14
Well,
police officers and personnel working every weekday, or
I don't think so.
But if...
Yeah, pretty close to it. We
I
have,
mean, if an officer comes in early for their shift to get reports done or check something, details, it's not all the time, but there are times where we all are.
Yeah.
you have, right, you have 2 detectives, you have a corporal, there's 3, a sergeant, a captain, there's 5, a chief, there's 6, dispatch administration, there's 8, and then you have
Prosecutor.
a prosecute, there's 9, an SRO, there's 10, and then you have 2 officers
To patrol.
to patrol, right.
And then on top of that.
And that's
you've
every
got-
day, John.
And you have 2 other people that are currently,
Leaving it on.
And then you have right, then, exactly, then you have one that we've put just on days and another one that's an intern. So,
I think it's a
I say
time
we go ahead
management
and
of
go.
using it.
it's a
And
challenge.
I think a sign on the computer so you log off or you will get logged off.
I think even with them logging off correctly, we're still limited in scrounging for licenses.
Well, what will happen
Okay,
is,
when was the last time we increased our personnel?
Year ago?
So for a year this has been going on?
well, your training officer has been off shift for the most part until recently, and, the
Yeah, you
intern
had it.
is new. But yeah, we've
How long will
run
the
in-
intern be here?
He's here for the whole semester, and he's busy as heck, so...
We have run into this, periodically, but it, and I think there was a time when, like the SRO wouldn't do the work at his office there. He would come into the squad room to do it. But I can tell you what will happen is if we don't increase it, the chief is going to have to come up with a priority list, because an officer is going to need to be able to log in. So if the officer logs in, who's going to get bumped off? Is it a detective working on a case? Is it the captain or the sergeant who's, going through a case and approving it? Something's going to have to give. So it would have to be some kind of priority if we ran into that, because, I felt for the officer the other day. He came in and he called me because he thought something was wrong, but I could tell right away, we had reached the limit again.
So we found some open ones and bumped them off, and that was somebody that didn't log off.
I can't, I really, I think you can go after the ones that aren't logging off. I think we're still gonna run into that situation.
No matter how
where,
many you get, until every computer has it.
No, not
Where does
necessarily.
the money come from?
It'll come from software, and I'll have to,
Take some from Bob's.
I have
No, only we can
I
do
have an
that.
idea of how I'm going to make that work. It's not easy, I got to tell you. I've
No,
had a lot
because
of
some other
things happen.
department may be losing something that they need because the budgets are very tight.
Well, I've had several things happen in January that just were unexpected and having to
Right.
spend money on.
That's right.
Really confounded me. So it's going to be tough all year. It's just the way it's going to be.
Kinda as it should be. We shouldn't have a whole lot of money left over.
Right,
Yeah.
agree with you. All right, call the vote. All those in favor of increasing the licenses by 3, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Me,
Hey,
Okay, motion passes.
we're cheap.
I just agree with you, I think it's time management.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tim, for your input.
Oh, well, he's sitting here.
While he's
You wanna
here,
do
number
this?
2?
Yeah,
Number 2,
I make a
all
mo-
those in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
yeah, aye. You're good with the
Number 2.
holiday.
Oh, thank you.
And the tax anticipation note. Any other agreements we need to do?
You're gonna send out the Casella agreements for us to read, so we can work on those next week.
Should we contact Waste Management, considering the petition warrant article? I mean, there's a possibility that a motion, it could be amended at town meeting to get rid of picking up recycling. That is a possibility. Should we contact Waste Management and get a price from them to see if they price just picking up our
MSW. You all said, Bob, you up?
garbage?
If we lose Hey, as you throw.
Town meeting, petition warrant article.
Yes.
That could be amended to eliminate recycling pickup.
Okay. So,
That possibility lingers out there.
Assuming it passed.
Let's say that happens.
okay, so then our contract would be null and void?
No, what she's saying is, should we be looking at the folks that wouldn't do it in the first place because they didn't want to do recycling? Can we go back to them and say, listen, we just have MSW now?
Like Wisher.
It's changed.
Bernard.
Exactly.
Waste Management sent us a letter saying they'd still be interested, and it's obvious they don't have, they're not set up to pick up recycling. But they'd be more than interesting to pick it up our garbage.
That isn't what they'd be interested in, is keep us in mind for the future. Didn't say they didn't bid because of the recycling.
I know what I know.
And Bernard never responded.
So,
And Witcher,
would it behoove us to contact them, at least say, would you be willing to bid on just that? I'm just thinking being prepared.
okay.
Ain't wouldn't hurt anything.
It's not going to hurt anything, and it's up to the legislative body, no matter which way you go, anyway. Doesn't matter, if they say do away with it, then fine. If they say no, we've got the information.
I suspect it won't happen.
And then,
Oh, just be prepared,
so
though.
I suspect it won't happen.
I don't think it'll happen.
number as well,
It would be kind of sad.
because their number is contingent on the recycling.
Doing so good.
I can tell you, the agreement that I'm working on, the negotiation I'm working on, it's all in. They're factoring everything into that. And one of which is, I think there's a higher cost, but it's partly because we're not paying for the recycling tonnage. They're absorbing the revenue and/or revenue loss, which is right now, because of commodities,
Has been for quite some time.
well over a year or two, yeah. So I think all that is kind of priced into their agreement. But there's not a great deal of leverage that we have with them right now, because there is no other competitor, and they're well aware of this.
If there is another competitor, we can do it ourselves. And there's a lot of opportunities out there for getting the trucks and setting them up and doing them. They're a lot different than the garbage trucks you saw before.
You looking for a new job?
You've seen those trucks, you don't touch anything.
I know.
The new ones, they're right up front.
So
you
that
have to
is
stuff them.
contingent upon
So we're not,
that recycling
Okay, we're moving right along.
fails.
We're all set with Tim's report, right? We're all set with the
Casella closes down.
PD. Okay. Selectmen's reports. Do we have anything? Catherine?
I just have one quick thing.
Okay.
It's about the trash ordinance, which I know we've signed, but I just wanted to make sure we've had this conversation before. We didn't include any language in it about commercial. So my question is, what requires a commercial property to have a dumpster instead of putting all their garbage out curbside?
The 5 bags at the curb.
We don't have that in our new ordinance. When
Oh, you
we-
removed it?
Yeah, that was at the request of the board. Yeah.
Who requested that?
Because the comment was, well, if they go out and buy Tilton trash bags, they can put as many bags out at the curb as they want. Makes sense, right?
We don't have a limit, correct?
Well, without a limit, that's exactly what they could do.
Oh, we did have a limit.
At one point, I think.
That was before recycling.
Right.
This is the same conversation we had last year or the year before, whenever this trash ordinance thing started. But my question is, we don't have to do it tonight, but think about it, because we could amend it. If this petition warrant article passes, we're no longer buying recycle bags. And we may need to go back to the 5-bag limit.
Catherine, would that proposed ordinance affect our flow ordinance, where the garbage has to go to the incinerator?
No, it's compatible.
That's a different agreement.
I know
Agreement?
that what other communities did, in the co-op communities, is they used the definition from their zoning ordinance as what defined commercial, which is a business.
We have, the
or
definition is
anything over
still
4
in.
units was considered commercial.
I believe the definition of commercial is still in the trash collection ordinance. Although I've had, yeah, there it is, commercial property. And it comes from, I believe, this ordinance that was adopted in 2000. I believe it's the same definition in this one. Yeah. Commercial, yes, there it is. It's on page 2 of the one that was adopted in the year 2000. But I'm just saying, if that petition warrant article passes, and I think it will, people like to save money, we need to amend our ordinance that we just signed.
Yeah, we do.
And then I'm wondering, do we want all that tonnage going down to incinerator?
Yeah.
Even if they buy bags?
Well, yeah, because we can't bill them for it.
So should we amend it anyway, whether that passes or not? You're not going to be billing them if they put it up, the biggest ones won't, but some of them will. Because the commercial is multifamily. Just saying.
So I would be considered, would my house be
More
considered
than
commercial?
4.
More, yeah,
Well, I read that
More
in
than
there,
4
and I would
units.
say, I'd say no. I mean,
or more.
but it does say
Or more.
duplex, I think.
More than
Commercial property, including but not limited to contractors, multifamily dwellings, residential boarding and lodging homes, convalescent and nursing homes, churches, schools, ski areas, hotels, motels, inns, restaurants, lounges, retail sales, service businesses, professional offices, manufacturing facilities, automotive-related businesses, and individually owned multifamily dwelling units of more than 10 units on the same parcel.
10 units, this is manufactured housing parks.
So that would mean every landlord,
I mean, you'd be limited to, you're limited, in the ordinance, that means that you would be limited, so let's take your property, 5 bags at the curb, 5 33-gallon containers. A limit of 5 33-gallon bags or 5 33-gallon trash cans are combined of such which shall only total 5 33-gallon containers of trash per commercial property shall be in effect. So that's what this one says.
what does the apartment do? I mean, I have a duplex, so if I'm limited to 5 between the two of us, so let's take the apartments that have 4, 5, 6 apartments, like on Cedar Street, those buildings that have 5 or 6 apartments in them, they only have 1 bag of garbage a week, each of them.
Or they get
a
dumpster.
They get a dumpster.
But we also haven't enforced in the past.
That's right.
There are commercial properties that have put
They
out more
have
than
not
5 bags.
enforced this to multifamily dwellings.
The vet.
Well,
That's
remember the
exactly.
problems we had just on Main Street? We had talked even about putting dumpsters in the back for Main Street people because it was just mounds of bags. But since we've had the pay-as-you-throw, you don't see that.
No, I wonder where that garbage is going. Maybe that's what I'm picking up. But at any point, we need to think about this.
Quite a lot of recycling.
I think it really is worth thinking about.
If that passes,
We have to amend,
you're gonna wanna put that back in.
yeah.
Just saying.
Can't remember those
Do
mountains
you understand what she's saying? We'd have to put that portion
Yeah,
back
I
in.
understand what she's saying.
Well, do you want to put it in, we can't change a petition, but we can amend, it's our ordinance.
No, we would amend the
No, we just
ordinance.
amend the
Yeah, it's our
We just
ordinance,
amend the
not
ordinance.
town
Do you want me
meeting.
to
Right.
look up with you Tuesday?
Yep.
And we would amend the ordinance if in fact it,
Come up with something?
Come-
If the town meeting does away with recycling,
well,
or just in general.
no, if it does away with recycling, if it does away with the bags, it's gonna, it could increase
Could.
So we have to add that portion back into our
Yeah.
ordinance. Either way, we have to amend it.
Yeah,
Otherwise, you
I
can have all
missed,
those
I
apartments.
missed the fact that it was removed, because...
Yeah,
Well,
you,
and also that commercial entities aren't part of the curbside MSW pickup.
exactly.
Well, and here's the other thing. We have not allowed commercial properties to recycle.
Right, we had a gentleman come in today from the two hotels wanting to know how he could dispose of his recyclables. So we gave him the name of companies that we know that are licensed haulers of recyclables. But if this passes, what's to prevent him from, because the reason he couldn't do it before, businesses couldn't do it before, because they weren't buying bags, and buying the bags is what paid for the curbside, so it wasn't
That's
fair
right.
to the residents.
So it's even more reason to put the 5-bag limit back in.
Where, but that would also allow that person to do recycling, right?
There's nothing that would prevent us having to pick up the commercial recycling in that proposed warrant article.
There's what? Nothing to prevent.
Us having to pick up the commercial recycling.
Well, our contract says residential and,
Well, residential, okay, the word residential would work in there.
But,
that's just something else.
okay. That's what you had?
Yep.
All
That's
right. John, you have anything for us?
No.
Chief, is it February 27th is the fundraiser for Applebee's? For the
For Dunkin' Donuts. at
Dunkin' Donuts employees
I started looking at it.
at Applebee's.
Did you want to?
Oh, I didn't see this.
Okay. I believe that is it. We don't need to say anything about today's meeting at all, do we? Okay.
Today's meeting.
I wouldn't.
Should be a non-public if we do.
Okay.
Do you have anything for us, Joe?
No.
Peter, do you have anything for us? All right. Gail, do you have anything for us? On the minutes. That's next, after selectmen. Are you trying to jump the gun on me? Or just keep me, okay. All right. Okay, I make a motion that we bring the minutes of January 21st to the floor for discussion.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes. This is it.
Lockmere Affordable Housing check isn't it?
I know. Okay, minutes, and then we're home.
Minutes of,
Let's see if we can make it
when you look into January 21st?
Non-public, right?
21st.
No?
What's that?
No non-publics?
No,
Hallelujah.
we're out of here.
Wonderful.
What's going on?
We could-
Email that today, right?
We could go into a non-public, just FYI, to let you just know what happened this afternoon. But it would be a non-public.
I'm extremely curious.
Okay, we can do that briefly,
Disorganized. It's me.
I'm sure.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Give me a chance. Go ahead,
Do you have any luck with the variable message boards?
I read these through earlier, so I
Yeah, I
don't
didn't
have anything.
see anything that jumped out at me.
Just the extra period at the end.
On page 5, where it says Selectmen Scanlon, it would be the SDS spreadsheet form. I just don't want anybody to think that we put all the SDSs in yet.
So add add form,
Spreadsheets form.
okay.
So after spreadsheets and before and.
Any other corrections, additions, concerns? Make a motion, we approve the minutes as corrected.
Second?
All those in favor?
Yes?
Yes. Make a motion that we go into non-public as per RSA 91A:3, that which discussed in public would adversely affect the reputation of others.
Second?
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Yes.
Kathleen?
Yeah.
We are red is on. I'd like to make a motion to seal the minutes of the non-public session as it might
Reputation.
adversely affect the reputation of a person and as they would pertain to any legal matters permanently.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
Vote yes.
Motion to adjourn.
All those in favor?
Vote with your
Yes.
feet.
What are you laughing at?
Yeah.
Yes.